What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? We got people in the room already. Coop, how you doing on this Friday?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It got 4 o'clock or 4:30 or 5 o'clock, whatever, real quick. We got a bunch of people in the room already.
That happens.
Yeah, it does.
City.
Fridays come by real fast, man. This whole week's gone by pretty fast.
Yeah.
Um, I know you saw Boston whoop up on Dallas last night.
Well, I wanted to hear what you thought about the best player in the league.
What
Getting whooped up
happened?
last night at home.
What did he end up doing?
He ended up going like 7 to 24 and having 23 points and
Mm.
not double-digit rebounds or assists. I think he finally got a little burned out. When you're playing at that feverish pace like that over a 4 or 5 game stretch, it is hard to sustain.
I will say this though. I mean, it's a big time game. That's one of them games you got circled on your calendar. It's on TNT on a
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night. You got to
Yeah.
show up in those games, even
Mm-hmm.
if you have been getting burnt out. You got to save a little bit of something for that.
Now, for the critique that I've been giving, who showed up last night?
The guy
That
who
was
didn't show up in the finals.
Yeah, Jason Tatum. That was an MVP as far as this regular season is concerned. Though that was a MVP front runner stamp type of performance. It's like, oh, you think this guy's the MVP? Well, I'm gonna go into his house and have my best all around game of the season because I have it circled on my calendar because I understand how this works and that this matters. And I was prepared for the moment, unlike the finals, but this is the regular season. And right now, it's nip and tucking. It's still early, but there's about 5, 6 guys in contention for MVP, like there should be around January.
Yeah,
And
I just haven't gotten
yeah,
into the NBA yet, man. I don't know if it's just people scoring 150 points a game, or it's just so much going on. I'm just really not hadn't really been interested, but I'm gonna get into it. You got Donovan Mitchell scored 71 points. It's like, wow.
no, I understand. So I'm going to give you my top 10 players right now, like in the league, like in this order,
Mm-hmm.
like based on what I've seen this season. Because this season, I would put Giannis at number one.
Okay.
I have Embiid at number two. Now, I want to tell you, when I originally made this list, I had Luka at three and Tatum at four, but I'm flipping that right now.
Over one game. Wow.
First of all, that was Tatum's best game of the year. And for Luka to be on, one of those Kobe, Michael Jordan type of stretches to fizzle out, with 23 against your young rival and competitor too, because they're about the same age, like, no, that there's something to that. So I'm going to flip that. I'm going to put KD at 5, Jokic at 6, LeBron at 7. Now, the next three people are hurt, but when they're playing, Steph, street clothes, and street clothes 2, Zion.
Got people in your top 10 that ain't even on the court. I
But
mean,
when
yeah,
they're on the court, they're the impact players, And
all I
they played
know
enough
is
games. They played enough games that I still think they qualify for top 10 if they can qualify for All-Star teams. Like Anthony Davis was playing like a top 3 or 4 player, like when he was hurt before he got hurt. He's just always hurt.
36 Chambers with a super
I
chat
think he
says,
froze
I
up
know
once.
it's early, but do you guys have an ETA for the 2022 yearbook? I have the other two, but I figured it would take a while to get it set up and printed. We'll talk about that. We'll probably talk about that towards the end of the show. I know did my camera just freeze out on y'all real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
All
That's
right,
what I was
let
saying. I
me
think you froze
fix
up.
that real
I'm not.
quick.
I'm not in. I can't see. There you go. I can see you, but
Okay.
I'm. Yeah,
You can see me?
yeah. But you're frozen even on that.
I'm
Hold on. Let me
frozen
go.
right
Let
now.
me,
Hold on
no,
one second. Technical
no.
difficulties, of course.
Yeah, let me jump in and see because I can't. Like, I'm not
Okay,
physically
no, no.
looking at it right now, so I
Do
don't
you
know.
see me on your end? Because I
Hold
see
on.
that
I'm
I'm
waiting. I'm waiting to see.
okay.
No, you're frozen on the screen that I'm watching right
All
now
right, let me
too.
change that up.
Yeah.
On the screen that you're watching.
Okay. I think no. I think you're
Oh,
up
you
right
talking
now.
about? Yeah, I can see what's going on over there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that yearbook thing probably towards the end of the show, though. DeCarlo with the super chat says, "Coop, what's good with that Rakim and Tupac verses?"
I like the idea.
I like the idea too.
I do.
Um,
That's one of those. Remember when I was saying we need to spice it up and make it more exciting when we do stuff, and then not just like be like, "Oh, that sounds good, let's do it." Like, no, it needs to give us the excitement that made us hip hop fans. That's one of those things where it's like, "Oh, that I was like, never thought of that." Okay.
I would like to take Rakim.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, "Dope top 20 list, Coop. Where does Prodigy rank outside of that top 20? Was listening to Hell on Earth today, and I think that it's better." Oh man, my thing just did it again. My bad, guys. Can you hear me at least?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. Where does Prodigy rank outside of that top 20? Was listening to Hell on Earth today, and I think it's better than the infamous. Patreon that, please. Beats are dark, and P's rhyming crazy. He was top 3 through 5 in 96. He was crazy in 96, and I said the same thing. I think that album, it's arguable that it's on par, if not better, than the infamous, depending on what you like, from end to end. Now, it doesn't have Shook Ones on it. I don't know, man. I think that it does have things that are on par with Survival of the Fittest and Give Up the Goods.
I do too. Sometimes it's just that feeling of hearing and feeling something for the first time. But Havoc's beats are elevated and Prodigy's rhymes are elevated. So I'm not going to knock anybody that necessarily feels that way. They definitely hit their stride. When I was making this list, anytime you're doing a top 20 of anything now, and I kind of want to say this before we even dig off into it. I think you just went out on us.
No, it's cool. I got it. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. No, you're fine. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're making a list like this, it's really, really important that you understand that hip hop is about to be 50. And so artists have been making music of some sort of time and shape and fashion almost every year, definitely on a regular basis since the 80s came into play. So we're in 2023 now. So doing a top 20 list for anything hip hop now is officially hard because you could do a top 20, 25 by region easy and be leaving people out. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I want people to understand just how expansive hip hop really is. And I was kind of doing this to forge the conversation because culturally, I think we're finally going somewhere. And I guess my whole idea behind this is it's like, help me to help us make it credible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I have some, I guess, somewhat critiques or whatnot, and I'm sure the other people have critiques. I'm sure you've been seeing critiques on Twitter all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, I see one in here now saying where's Common, stuff like that. And obviously the Eminem people are going to have something to say about him missing.
It's the main thing.
We got to talk about that too. And then I also saw when I posted it on our Facebook page, somebody said, where the women at? I want to have that conversation too.
I like that. So you mind if I say a couple things right quick?
Go ahead and we'll get into it.
Right. Before we do, where do you start? You want to go over the criteria?
Well, let's do that. Let me go to the list.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to the criteria first.
Yeah, and so the criteria, you can go ahead and say the criteria. I know you sent it to me, but it looks all right. So you must have 2 solo albums, minimal while alive. I think that's very doable. You gotta have that, right?
Right.
Impact.
2 solo rap records.
Yeah, 2 solo rap albums. Impact, live performance, lyrics/storytelling, classic albums / classic songs, longevity of albums and songs. That pretty much, to kind of clarify that basically is saying that how well did your music age? You know what I mean? Like, how good does an album that you made in 95 sound in 2022, 23? You know what I mean? Albums and songs. My camera keeps messing up, but we're going to keep working this out. I'm going to keep going through.
No, it's cool.
Classic collaborations were added.
You're fluid like the list is.
Classic collaborations were added as well. Career longevity / quality. So the quality of the longevity of your career and rap voice.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get to your list while I'm fixing my camera and whatnot. So it looks like.
While you're doing that, hold
Uh-huh.
on. I want you see. This is what I mean about how deep it is. I'm just gonna run down a list
Okay.
right quick. Eminem, Guru, Prodigy, Big L, Big Pun, Cool G Rap, Common, Lupe, T.I., Kane, The Game, Chuck D, Big Boy, J. Cole, Rick Ross, Q-Tip, Slick Rick, Melly Mel, Ludacris, Styles, Beanie Siegel, AZ, Pusha T, Bun B, MJG, to the subject matter that we're going to talk about in a moment. Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, Nicki Minaj, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Talib Kweli, Pharoah Monch, Yazine Bey, Kanye West. I just named about 40 other MCs right there. This is what I mean about like, well, making a list like this is like truly fluid in the sense that I just kind of like threw the things at the wall that I thought stuck the most. And now we can have a whole like, roundabout discussion about what sticks. But here's what I'll tell you. In doing this and in the music that I've been listening to, because I've been doing a lot of deep dives lately on the low mic, really what's been going on is that I've been using Biggie as like the barometer, as I often do, for how I judge things, because he checks so many of these boxes for having only made 2 albums that it's like, well, if you can't do that or like exceed that, like willingly, he's the barometer for a lot of things to me because of what he did, because he still checks these boxes enough that I was trying to keep him out of the top 10 and I still couldn't.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to put him out of the 10, and it's like, no, it just don't make no damn sense. It's like even with that, and that's why I made the 2 albums while alive thing a thing, because it's like he only needed to make 2 albums while he was alive to live forever.
Okay.
Because everything else he checks on here on high marks. When you look at it, it's like, well, voice. Well, yes. It's like classic collaborations. It's like, well, yes. Longevity of album songs. It's like, well, yes. Classic albums, classic songs. Yes. Lyric storytelling. Yes. When he was here, he was a dope live performer. Yes. Impact. I don't think we can say enough about that. So it's like, look at how many boxes Big checks after 2 albums, So it's like, if you don't have 2 dope solo rap albums to even talk about, like, how can we put you in a conversation when hip hop is almost 50 and it's so flooded with MCs that have made 2 classic albums, including a guy who literally only made 2 albums while he was here, and they were both like all time classics.
I think
like,
one
you
of
can't
the
be
things
walking around for 20, 25 years without a couple of solo rap albums that we at least think are dope and be in the same breath as him. That's just not fair to the work that he did while he was here. Now, what say you?
No, I agree with that. And I think one of the things that really stands out, especially when you speak about Big and this small time period he had to do what he did, is the classic collaborations. And when you look at how many classic collaborations this man has, just basically being active for 3 to 4 years, I guess we could even count like, 93, right? 93 to 97. It's like, wow. I mean, people don't have those kind of classic level collaborations over a 10-year career. Right
now, there are people that have been doing this for 20, 25 years that don't have as many classic collaborations, songs, or albums as this man, but they get thrown into like these lists, and that's one of those things, and this is what I mean about the barometer. That's when I started looking at Snoop kind of like, well, hold on, why the hell we don't hold Snoop high? Because it's like, well, damn, Snoop's, first of all, Snoop's one of the few people that's made an album that can say, it's like, no, my shit's better than Biggie shit. And while Biggie was here, I was outselling Biggie.
Yeah, and Biggie
you know
was
what I'm saying?
reaching.
Like, Snoop can say that. Like, I want to talk about, like, the whole...
Biggie was reaching for his level of success.
Well, I mean, I think we didn't get to talk about this enough on the last show. This is what I mean about how the media skews things. We spend so much time, Mike, and I mean us, as in you and I, when we talk about 1994, we talk about Nas making Illmatic, we talk about Big making Ready to Die, and we talk about Outkast making Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. And to be quite honest with you, we're wrong because of how we've been raised. Snoop ran 1994 because Doggy Style came out in late November of 1993. And sold 4 million records in 1994. Like Nas, Outkast, and Biggie combined in 1994 didn't outsell Snoop.
Snoop was Snoop. You know what I mean? And he was a household
Snoop was
name.
really the man like that. And people need to understand, and this is what I mean. He wasn't just the man like that. Like, he didn't just sell those records because he was Snoop, because he was a star. The album was like that. It had to be. The music was there. And so when I'm looking at the music and the classics, it's like, oh, well, he's one of the few people that really legitimately, when Big and Pac was here, was actually bigger than Big and Pac for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get to some of these super chats and we'll get in the list. My camera's acting up, so I'm fixing those things as the show goes on.
You're cool.
Jadarion with the super, is it Just You Run, excuse me, with the super chat says, hold on. Just You Run says, another verse.
To our page. Like and subscribe to our page while Mike's working out the technical difficulties. It's a new year. We're going to work out all the kinks. Go ahead,
that's
Mike.
cool. Let me get to the super chats real quick. Just You Run says, another versus matchup you suggest with suggestions, Wu-Tang Forever versus All Eyes on Me. The battle for the best double disc rap album between those two albums. I mean, if we're going to do a double disc, I'd rather just go Life After Death than All Eyes on Me, right? I don't think Wu-Tang Forever can win that All Eyes on Me matchup. I'm about
to say, I don't like that for Wu-Tang Forever, if we're being quite frank.
Yeah, if we're being honest. DeCarlo with the super chat says, the only arguments I have that didn't make the 20 are Common, 3000, Eminem, J. Cole, Kanye West, and maybe Drake, but that's it. Well, you know, 3000 doesn't have the solo album to actually buy in, so you need two of those, too. 3000 doesn't even have two solo songs to buy in. Jay Short with the super chat says, happy Friday, fellas. Dope list, but I gotta dispute Method Man. Are we placing him based on potential and personal thoughts still? Where's the classic album? It's not fair to Lupe, Common, or Thought. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
What say you?
Well, let's pause for a second. Impact. Pretty high, wouldn't you say?
You think his impact is higher than Common's?
Yes.
I mean, in a way where it outweighs the lack. I mean, because their catalogs as individuals is not even comparable. No,
that you're correct about. Now, I will tell you this. The main thing that I feel like that maybe I made a mistake with on this list was not including Common. So what I will submit to you to kind of get this started, if you want to, is who are we taking out to put Common in? Because I have Kendrick where he is, even in spite of last year's mishap. And that's exactly what it was. In spite of last year's mishap, I still put him.
Yeah, Kendrick's in there.
At 14.
Yeah, Kendrick's in there.
And so I would tell you that I think Common's catalog is probably better than Kendrick's, only due to longevity. And
range, versatility.
Method Man doesn't have that, but this is what I would tell you is it's like, well, who's a better live performer?
Between Common and Meth?
Yep.
Common's a pretty great live performer. I think their music just does things different energy-wise.
Lyric storytelling.
Huh?
Lyric storytelling.
Common.
Okay. Longevity of album songs.
Common.
Classic album songs.
Common.
Classic collaborations.
Well, that's Method Man.
Career longevity, quality.
That's Common.
Voice.
Method Man, but you know, Common has a dope rap voice too.
So if you want to sub out Method Man for Common?
Let's look at this list real quick. Wrong list. All right, so this is what the list looks like. Coop's top 20 MCs based on all of those things we mentioned. We got Nas, Jay-Z, Rakim, Tupac, Biggie, KRS-One, Ice Cube at 7, Snoop Dogg at 8, LL at 9, Scarface at 10, Ghost at 11, Raekwon at 12, Lil Wayne at 13, Kendrick at 14, Method Man at 15, Redman at 16, DMX at 17, Jadakiss at 18, Black Thought at 19, and Busta Rhymes at 20.
Now, hold on one second, Mike. Let me ask you something. Is putting Common at 15 too low for Common to people? Or for people? Should Common be ahead of Kendrick, Lil Wayne, Ghostface, and Raekwon to people?
We gotta ask the people that. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I want to have the conversation about it. Because if we're putting Common at 15, and that's why it's good to kind of like do these analysis with these criteria and run it down. Because with Common checking so many boxes against somebody like Method Man, it's like, well, doesn't he check a lot of those boxes against the guys that are right ahead of him too?
Exactly. Let me get to these super chats and we'll run down the scale with Common. Jay Short says, just speaking for myself, when I hear a lot of the early Wu-Tang stuff by certain artists, I hear a lot of GZA's cadence, inflection, and style and wording. Not accusing anyone without proof, just saying. No, that's real. I mean, I think that when you got guys like that are rapping in a collective and rapping at such a high level, it's hard to think that people aren't helping each other out. And especially at that
I don't
time,
think
with GZA being the veteran, and not saying anybody, quote unquote, wrote anything for anybody, but you know what I mean, like guiding you in a way that DLC was guiding Snoop.
Well, no, it's not even. I don't even know if it's a guiding thing. You kind of guide by example. So the GZA was the first one out of them to actually have a record deal, and he was older than him. So when you listen to like Ray and Meth and them talk about the GZA, it's like, well, he's the one that we look to because he was already an MC writing these full songs and making it happen. So of course, who are you going to adopt your style and cadence after? Like the brother that you hear that you're right next to, everybody that's doing it, and his cousin's making the beats. You know what I'm saying? So that I think that's more of osmosis. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Than it is like, you know, biting or like somebody writing for somebody else. Now, we know that the GZA wrote most of the Return to the 36 Chambers, but also Old Dirty Bastard.
But again, nobody holds that against Old Dirty. Like, you know, and like how we had this whole session about Snoop the other night, and we'll talk about that some more. And even when we talk about Kanye West, who I think has to be on a list like this, you know, because Busta is
one of the 20 best
off.
MCs ever?
I mean, Busta's off, man. Let's just be real. But I'm going to get to that. Mad Max of the Super Chat
Very
says,
disrespectful how you
it's just real. Busta doesn't have a...
on Twitter and
Busta
like
doesn't have a...
if he was going to do
Busta
me like
doesn't have a through the wire. He doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, the only knock that people are going to have on somebody like Ye is the fact that, you know, he had Sci-Hi writing some of his later stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm already taking Busta out, but I don't know if we're putting Yeezy in yet. But we're taking Busta out. That's cool.
No, listen, let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck.
So Busta and Meth are out.
Let's keep it a buck.
For a second.
How many of these guys have a better catalog than, I mean, if we want to talk about album for album, how many of these guys have a better catalog than Kanye West?
That's a very valid point, but
I mean, we always talk about the albums. We can't just pick and choose when it's somebody that, you know.
Wait. Let's run it down like quick. Impact is high, right?
Impact is super high. Probably the most famous rapper there is.
Impact's top 5. Impact's top 5, right?
3. Yeah.
Possibly. That's debatable.
But,
but I hear what you're saying.
His impact extends over to Wayne's impact. Like, you know what I mean? He opened the door for Wayne.
Live performance?
That's a 10.
Lyric storytelling.
Shit. I mean, I think that's probably one of his lower marks, but it's still high.
Okay. Classic album songs. He's got those.
Yeah.
How do you think the records are holding up?
Very well.
Okay.
All of them.
Classic collaborations?
Classics. He done made songs with everybody.
Quality?
That's high.
Voice?
That's a low point for him.
So would you have him above a Black Thought and a Jadakiss and a DMX and a Redman?
Of course I would.
So do you
and
have
I think the only reason why somebody wouldn't.
Hold on, no, wait. I'm just like before you you don't have to give like the full synopsis. Mm-hmm. I'm just like kind of running down the list to see where we need to place him for you. Is he ahead of Common?
Yes, he is.
I don't know about that.
He is. His albums are better. His songs stuck more. And that's not being disrespectful because I just gave Common all kind of praise. His versatility's there. And honestly, when he came into the fold, Common made his best shit.
Kendrick and Wayne?
Yes.
Ghost?
Yes. And I love Ghost. Yes.
Scarface? Paul?
Yes. It's the last person I think he gets.
No. Because here's the thing. Like, first of all, if you're talking about impact, he influenced the whole region of MCs in a time where it wasn't taboo to be a great MC down here. Like, you have to understand, like Scarface is on solo album number 2 when Snoop's making Doggy Style, when Doggy Style comes out. You get what I'm saying? And about to make solo album number 3 after already being with the Ghetto Boys. He's like already a legend.
You went to
You
that
know what I
listening
mean?
party, right? You went to that
Huh?
listening. You done went to that listening event at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Let's not talk
like
about
it's just
impact.
it's not as easy as you say. As far as lyrics and storytelling go, that is Scarface
That is
over Kanye.
Scarface,
So if you want to say impact and live performance, Kanye, right?
and I think
Lyrics
longevity
and
of
story. Hold on.
songs, impact of songs,
Wait,
albums. Yeah,
wait, wait. Are you going to let me run down the list?
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Lyric storytelling, that's Scarface. So it's 2-1. Kanye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Classic album / songs, that's Scarface. Kanye has the songs, but Scarface still has a better discography than Kanye.
I disagree with you.
What albums? What albums? When's the
I
last
would
time
say the
Kanye made a
College
dope album? Like
Dropout.
Scarface has made a doper album more recently than Kanye has. You understand that, right?
So
Somebody
if we
that was literally here 15 years before him, because Deeply Rooted came out in like 2016 or 17.
Deeply Rooted's a nice album, but
It's
let's
a
be
really
real,
dope
Coop.
project, Mike.
Let's be real, Coop. If we rank the College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and rank those with Scarface's top records, who is going to have the top 5 albums in that ranking? If we just threw all their albums
the rest
together,
of the albums, Mike?
I'm just saying, if we threw all their albums together, where's number 1, 2, 3, 4? You know what I mean? Like,
but Scarface has a better discography overall, though, is what I'm saying. Because Scarface never put out a bad album. Ye's made a few now, like 4 now. That's what I'm saying. You're talking about a man who's made bad albums versus a man who hasn't. So how can you say that the other man has a better catalog?
I guess because I feel like in that consistency, and
you
I
feel
say
that the
this
catalog's
respectfully.
more impactful.
No, let me finish.
Doesn't make it better.
You asked me a question. Let me finish.
My bad. That's my bad.
I think that what you're talking about in the consistency, and I say this respectfully, Scarface's consistency is bred on him playing it safe. And when Kanye made less than stellar efforts, he was taking a chance artistically. So I guess I can deal with that better than somebody going out there just making, Holy Grail or something. No shots, but I'm just saying.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you really want to know the truth, the people in the arena who are watching the show, well, they don't care how you get the job done. They're just concerned with the results. So although you can say that he's played it safe, we're just talking about somebody that's never made a bad album that was here 15 years before Kanye. So when you're saying Kanye has a better discography, I'm like where after album 5?
But see,
this other man has like 12, 13 albums.
But what you call a bad album, though, Coop, there are people out here who I know personally that swear by Yeezus, that swear by 808s and Heartbreaks. They swear by Life of Pablo and Donda. So I mean, I think that again, when you make
to stop it.
No, but again, that's your palate and that's your preference. But when you make albums like Kanye does, where it takes chances and certain people get it and certain people don't, that doesn't really constitute as a bad album. That just constitutes as the fact that you made an artistic choice and took a chance. Now, I think we all can agree that Nostradamus is a bad album. It's just a bad album. That wasn't him trying to do anything to, push something further. But you've heard people make the arguments for Donda. You've heard people make the arguments for Life of Pablo. You've heard people make the arguments for... I know people that say that Yeezus is his best album and one of the best albums they've ever heard. We already see the impact that 808s and Heartbreaks has had on a whole generation. So... you can't really say those albums. You can say, I don't like those albums, but you can't really call them bad albums when they were still highly regarded.
They're not good.
Let me get to the super chats real quick.
When y'all be saying this,
but just because you don't think it's good doesn't make it not good. You know what I mean?
They're not good.
Just because you feel it doesn't hit your palate in that way.
When you were talking about those albums, I'm thinking, what songs from those albums are people running around playing right now? And I'm thinking, man, damn, one of them, because they ain't good.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Snoop over LL was definitely got a debate, because that's crazy. But Lil Wayne in the top 20. Bro, Wayne out of here, out of there, bro. And all that dot slander / criticism and you got him over Common? Come on. 36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, Coop, you didn't mention giving Biggie an asterisk.
Well, when I listen to the music, I just couldn't because his music is like, better than everybody else's almost. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like I couldn't do it. That's what I mean. I was trying to. It's like, well, he's just better. It still stands. It still holds. Like when Who Shot You still comes on, it's like, no, it's still that shit, Mike. It's been forever. The same thing with a lot of these records. When One More Chance comes on, when Juicy comes on,
his music
when The What comes on, Mike, I was playing You Can't Stop the Rain with Shaq again. It's like, when the hell else can you ever listen to Shaq over and over again?
Shaq could rap. Shaq was cool.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you when could you listen to him over and over again?
Can't Stop the Rain is great. DeCarlo says, I can also make an argument for Ross and The Game over a lot of these guys off of catalog alone.
But that's just one aspect.
That's just one aspect. Brandon Sloan with the Super Chat says, nobody has ever topped Tupac when it comes to the greatness ratio of words and delivery. He made classics effortlessly, pure, raw power. We love Pac, man. DeCarlo with the Super Chat says, I can argue Ross and Game over Meth respectfully. Yeah, Meth got to go. And I love Method Man. He was my favorite rapper.
So we already got Meth out because we got Common at 15 right now, and 20 is blank. Is there anybody else we're taking out right now?
Hold on, I'm going to finish these Super Chats and I'm going to give my input. Kendall Outlaw says...
nobody want to hear your input, Mike. Q-Tip going to end up on this top 20 if you get your input. I'm just messing.
Nah, Q-Tip's not on there. Kendall Outlaw with the Super Chat says, I personally would take Jadakiss off and put Crazy Bone on there. Okay. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, if Kendrick is in the 20, J. Cole should be in the 20. I get not having Drake because of the writing issues, but Cole should be mixtape, and EPs count too. What say you to the fact that Cole is not on this list?
Are we counting mixtapes and EPs?
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, we live in an era now where mixtapes, EPs, and all that stuff is... I mean, you can't tell the difference between an album and a mixtape now.
Well, with that being said, how can Jadakiss be off?
Because listen, let's just be real, guys. I don't think that Jada...
Is the catalog that have that much?
I don't think Jadakiss has made the music that J. Cole's made. Are we serious? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you want to talk about, I mean, obviously, Jada could go out there in the verses and play a lot of collaborative stuff. But if he was just pinned down to just playing his individual solo catalog up against J. Cole, you think he's gonna top J. Cole with that?
No.
I mean,
okay, no.
Yeah,
hold on.
There has to be something said for that. You know what I mean?
We don't have to argue about it. Let's go down criteria. Impact: Jadakiss or J. Cole?
J. Cole.
Live performance: Kiss or Cole?
I think that's Cole again.
I'm going Kiss.
I'm not mad at that, but I've heard people.
I mean, you did.
People love J. Cole,
right? You remember the verses, and you remember.
Yeah, the verses was incredible.
Remember Who Shot You came on, right?
Did his thing.
Like you remember the Breath Control, right?
I remember.
No backup singers or dancers or none of that shit. Just bars.
I seen J. Cole on Letterman too.
Hold on. In a heavy, like, competitive environment, like I look at the environment too, like you're in the ring. It's like it's Madison Square Garden, Dipset there, the Lox is there, and everybody thinks that you're the best MC in the building. And then you like show up and show them that you are the best MC in the building. It's like, that's his live performance at the Versus is one of the greatest live performances ever by an MC, is what I'm saying. And so I
loved it, but I don't feel like one of the greatest ever per se.
Yeah, it is.
I think
as far as shit niggas done seen,
I want to say this.
People have been able to partake of live. Yeah, it is. It's still
I want to say this.
It's the best Versus performance, hands down. Think about all the great people that have done Versus.
I don't know about that. I want to say this respectfully. We tend to, and I love my people in New York and be up there in the next couple of weeks, man. But we tend to inflate and elevate things that happen on the New York stage, i.e. Derek Jeter. If Derek Jeter played for the Astros, would we treat him like this? He has 3,000 hits, and I'm not disrespecting Derek Jeter. He was a great player. But all this, hat tilt and all that, that's the New York part of it. And I think that when it comes to that performance, that versus, they did a great job of making the stage very big at Madison Square Garden and all of those things. But I wouldn't say the greatest, one of the greatest live performances I've ever seen. I wouldn't say that. It was great. It did a good job. And honestly, we got to look at it. I mean, Dipset didn't look good that night. So it wasn't like, honestly, if we want to talk about performing,
Jadakiss was so great.
If you want to talk about performing, I thought from a collective standpoint, the Kane and KRS was better performed.
That's a different level.
You know what I mean? But but they did that in Brooklyn. It wasn't in Madison Square Garden, all that. So I think a lot of the other things kind of dictate how we feel about the performance.
Nobody is saying that Kiss is a better live performer than KRS or Kane. That's blasphemous. But we are picking between J. Cole and Kiss. And Cole doesn't have a moment like that. And so when you have to bring up KRS and Kane, well, I kind of win at that point.
Well, I only brought that up because you mentioned the verses.
Well, let me also say this too. You can't downplay like the Garden like that though, Mike. Like the whole Jeter thing. Like we can have a conversation for that the other day. But no, Kiss in the Garden, Locks, Dipset. That's a big thing for hip hop. No matter like where you're from. You know what I'm saying? That's Pac at the House of Blues. You know what I'm saying? Like no, those things matter.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. And I'm gonna be in the Garden, but
let's just start checking it off. Like, so you want to call live performance a draw? Can we call?
No, if you want to give it to Jada, I'm fine with that. I'm not really debating that. I'm just not slighting Cole as a performer. I
think Cole's a great live performer. I don't think he's better than Kiss, like in the moment though. Lyric storytelling.
I think that Cole has the storytelling where Jada may have the lyrics.
We calling that a draw?
That could be a draw for those purposes.
Okay,
but I will give Cole the content, though. Is content part in that?
I think content's going part of your lyrics, because isn't that what we have that whole Tupac conversation about?
I think content matters. That might overall be J. Cole, whereas Jada's the better spitter. But J. Cole can give you a song about anything, and he's a better storyteller.
I still think that it's a draw, because I think like still when you get down to that spitter thing, it's like, well, you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna spend too much time unpacking that. Classic albums and songs is Cole.
Okay.
The longevity of albums is Cole, but the longevity of songs is actually Kiss, I would tell you, because of the next one, classic collaborations.
Yeah.
Because that's Kiss too.
Yeah.
Career longevity quality.
I think that's Jada, and I think we have.
Me too.
And that's not to slight anything that Cole's done. It's just the fact that Jada got here first, and he's doing it at a very high level for somebody who's been here for so long. He sounds better than anybody in his era. Him and Black Thought.
Yes.
They sound better than anybody from their time period. And Nas too, but whatever. He don't even count now.
I mean, Black Thought's before. I'm about to say Black Thought is more like Nas's class, because Do You Want More is 94, 93, 94. Yeah.
So yes, if we're talking about Jada's individual class, nobody sounds as good as him.
No. So hold on. So what did Cole win? Because this is 9 categories, and I picked 9 categories to make sure that there would be no ties. So impact is Cole, you said? Mm-hmm. Live performance is Kiss, so it's tied. The lyrics and storytelling was a tie, so it's 1-1-1. Classic album songs is Cole, 2. Mm-hmm. Longevity of albums and songs, I think that was another draw, because Cole has a longevity of albums, Kiss has a longevity of songs, so Cole's still up. Classic collaborations goes to Kiss, so it's tied. Career longevity quality goes to Kiss. Voice goes to Kiss. So when you're saying Cole's better than Kiss, when we're according to the criteria, no, he's not.
Yeah, he got points on a lot of things that I guess I don't hold as high as I do catalog and
See, that's what I mean. When you start, because here's something that I realized from some of that conversation I've been having, that people know who they are.
So I said,
we look at the catalog so heavily because the catalog was kind of like the buy-in for us. We have to understand that what we're keeping some people from reaching their all-time greatness because we're addicted to the catalog. And we have to understand some people aren't making music to make that catalog album music anymore, quite frankly, because they saw the rappers that they grew up loving not be super wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And so the focuses and the things have changed over time. And so what you find with a lot of these people that are making this list, well, most of the people that are making this list, even if they are like not in their 40s yet, they're approaching it. Like all of these people are kind of old, and there's a reason for that because they've rounded out the most careers because they've transcended through the different eras of change of things.
Right.
But if we keep on holding the catalog so sacred, like it's okay to make it matter, but if we don't start leveling it off more and balancing it off, it's like, well, no, your voice does matter. You know what I mean?
Well,
like making hit records. Like, no, that matters.
Well, while you're
like,
saying those things, and you had Kendrick ranked over Jada, run Kendrick through that same gambit against Jada.
Let's do it. I'm cool with that. That's what I mean. This is like open for interpretation and discussion, you know?
Okay.
Impact, I'd say Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Live performance, now that I would say Kendrick.
You're going to put that over the performance you saw at Madison Square Garden?
No, he's had a lot of big live performances though.
So he has a moment like what you were saying with
yeah, like the Grammy moment with the Chain Gang and all that. You remember?
Man, that shit was corny. Well, okay. All right.
How you feel about it personally doesn't change the moment. In the,
it was a great. You thought it was a better performance than the Madison Square Garden.
Like how about this? I thought it was corny too, but that doesn't mean the performance wasn't great. Like I can name a lot of entertainers that I think give corny ass performances that I find to be brilliant artistically.
So would you say that performance was better than the Madison Square Garden performance?
Not for me, hell no. You want to give it the kiss? I'm cool if you're giving it the kiss.
I'm just saying, no, I'm not telling you to give it the kiss. I'm just saying let's have the same consideration we had when we were talking about J. Cole. That's all I'm saying.
No, we can give it the kiss. I mean, J. Cole ain't been live at the... Okay. I ain't even about to do that. It's Carolina. All right.
What's the next one?
Lyric storytelling.
That's Kendrick.
Okay. Classic album songs. That's Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Longevity of albums. That's Kendrick. I think that's another tie. It's one of those songs things. Well, Kiss got the songs. Kendrick got the albums in terms of longevity. Classic collaborations, that's easily Kiss. Career longevity quality, once again, that's Kiss. Voice, once again, that's Kiss. So Kendrick, so Kiss won 1, 2, 3. Did he win live performance?
I don't know. I think it would be fair to give that one to Kendrick. I don't even know. So I don't know. But see, I don't know. I think this is where the discrepancy is. I don't know if Jada is an overall better live performer than Cole. I don't know.
Okay, so even if you were to give that back, like Kiss would still beat Cole, I believe. But look, Kendrick is beating Kiss much easier. Impact, lyric storytelling, classic album songs. You know what I'm saying? Longevity of albums.
Let me go to these super chats real
pretty easily.
Let me go to these super chats real quick so we don't get backed up on it. Just You Run says, what about Kanye? We're going to get to that. He said he fits all the criteria. That needs to be there. I agree. Kanye's top 10. Shit. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Kanye has the culture impact more than most on this list. Star power, voice, and makes records that stick. Major classics. 100%. DeCarlo with the super chat says,
is Kanye top 10 to you, Mike?
He is. It's got to be.
Who are you taking out of the 10? You taking Scarface out?
Most definitely. I'll say that respectfully. I might even take LL out. DeCarlo with the super chat said, we'll get to it. Says, if we consider Ye, then you automatically have to consider Drake. Keep it all the way 100. We could consider Drake. I don't think that we shouldn't consider Drake. I never said he was disqualified. Jay Short with the super chat says, what's a classic song with 3 Jadakiss verses? With 2 Jadakiss verses? What say you, Coop?
I mean, Put Your Hands Up is the first thing.
That's not a classic. Right?
You don't think Put Your Hands Up is a classic?
If we put that up against some classic records, it wouldn't stick. Like, it wouldn't. Would you say, really, Put Your Hands Up as a top 100 hip-hop song ever?
Oh no! But that's what I mean. Like a lot of people on this list, Mike, don't have as many top 100 like hip hop songs ever as you think. Hip hop's big now; it's massive. We got to stop looking at it through the eyes like it's like 96. It's not 96. 2023.
200.
You want to know it? You know the song thing.
I like the song, but it's not that.
The song conversation is probably the most subjective and hardest to pinpoint of all the conversations because so many records, quite frankly, that aren't as good as some street records that other people aren't as familiar with are really, really big. Like if we were doing a songs list, like Flow Rider's Low would make the list over something like Put Your Hands Up. Do you think that's fair?
By what metrics?
Like on traditional lists where you like thinking about like best hip hop songs ever. Or like what do you think about Bust a Move by Young MC? Or I Got It Made by Special Ed?
I Got It Made by Special Ed, yeah.
By Special Ed?
Got It Made by Special Ed is a great hip hop record, period.
Is it better than Put Your Hands Up?
I think it is.
Okay.
It is what it is. DeCarlo with the super chat says something very potent. He says,
What about I Wish by Skilo?
Nah, man. DeCarlo says, shame on you for putting Special Ed in that conversation. I Got It Made is dope. DeCarlo with the super chat says,
what was I Wish? I Wish is the shit.
So, Coop, by that logic, Scarface has a better catalog than Jay-Z because he made terrible albums.
I've always felt like that he made a better catalog than Jay-Z. I've never been one of the people running around here saying Jay-Z had a better catalog than Scarface. So, yeah.
I think he does, but yeah, that's just me. Mad Max says,
I don't feel that way.
Mad Max says, Ye peak albums run over Scarface. That's he's like, I don't.
Is that Mad Max?
Yeah, he says, that's a debate. Ye's discography is better than anyone in hip hop's discography, not named Nas and Hov. And it might be. But see, again, you know what? That's a reflection on what his generation even sees from somebody like a Kanye West. I mean, that shows you how well that his albums have aged and how well his music has aged. Because I agree with Mad Max, actually.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say shame on both of you, but since we're here, let's work in reverse with Kanye. Is he better than Nas?
No.
Jay-Z?
I think no, but it's not. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This is what I'm gonna say. No. Let me finish that thought before people think I'm crazy, and it's always blasphemous to even question anything Jay-Z centric or critical. Let me say the only thing that Jay-Z has hands down over Ye is he's just a much better lyricist and MC altogether. Live performance, Ye's the better live performer. Ye's actually probably made the songs. He's a better song maker. Let's keep it a buck. And he's a better album maker. Is he not? He's really a better hit maker. As a pure individual artist, he doesn't have to attach himself to other individuals to make hits. He doesn't. The only thing that Jay-Z has over Kanye, hands down, and if we want to talk about sales, this nigga came out the gate selling stupid amounts of records. So from an actual selling standpoint, per capita, per album, he actually is a more commercially viable than Jay is too. If we want to be 100 about it, the one thing Jay has over him is that he is an incredible lyricist, and Ye will never be able to rhyme to the level that Jay rhymes to. But, you know, the other caveat, Kanye actually is a great producer on top of that. So where you're an incredible lyricist, he's an incredible producer. So that's why I was like, And the impact conversation, I never thought I would say in 2023 that Kanye West's impact has surpassed the impact of Jay-Z. I never thought I would say that. I always thought Jay was one of the most impactful, if not the most impactful MC after Pop. But when you look at these generations that have followed Kanye West and continue to follow Kanye West, I mean, shit, whole governments are shaking because of this man's impact. He's more impactful. There, I said it.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished for now.
Okay, I was just making sure. I just wanted you to get all that out. It seemed like you had been holding that in for a while. I'm glad you got to let that out. All right. So the way that you were talking, and I want you to understand exactly how you were talking. You're actually talking like Jay-Z really doesn't deserve to be in the second place based on
I'm
this
not saying
criteria.
that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that is what you're saying.
No,
Actually,
I'm saying that Kanye deserves to be top 3 to 5 consideration. I truly feel
you really think it's like that? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why we're working from the top. Rakim.
No, I mean Rakim's Rakim, man.
So listen. Hold on. So pause for a second.
But after Rakim, it's
are you
opened
gonna
up.
let me finish? If you're telling me that no to Rakim and Nas, but it's a possibility with Jay, that means we need to slide Rakim up one and slide Jay down one. You're literally saying that because of Kanye. And then we need to compare Jay and Kanye and see who gets that third space. That's literally what you're saying. That's all I'm saying. Based on how you're talking and in your very eloquent soliloquy that you just gave about Kanye's placement, if he really deserves top 3 to 5 placement, and it's not over Nas and Rakim, but possibly over Jay. And when I'm looking at the criteria, as I'm looking at it, you have a valid conversation, and I don't think you have the same valid conversation with Nas and Rakim. I'm telling you, like, maybe we need to slide Jay down to 3, move Rakim up to 2 for now, and see where Kanye falls between him and Jay and him and Pac and him and Big right quick.
I think that Jay deserves it over Ra, even though Rakim's the best lyricist.
How can you say that based on everything you just said about Kanye in relationship to Jay, though?
No, because again, I considered what I just said about Rakim, everything that I considered with Jay. You know what I mean? Like that's what made it so easy for me to say, okay, Ra over Kanye because of everything I just said, about the Jay thing. But I think what makes Rakim very different is how foundational he is with what he's done. But you know what? Again, I wouldn't be mad if Rakim was at number 2.
Hold on.
But see, I think the longevity conversation becomes the thing.
You want to know it? Let's have a quick conversation, though, before we start placing Ye. Because when you just said that, it made me think it's like, damn, we might need to put Rakim ahead of Jay. And not like on no funny shit, like based on what this criteria is. Well, impact, Mike.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's Rakim, but it could be argued another way.
That's a tie.
It could be argued because there was a period where everybody was trying to be Jay.
It's like everybody's trying to be Rakim.
Let me stop right there real quick. That period, I thought that period was gonna last forever. You know what I mean? I think the period where everybody was trying to be Jay, from the clothes to the flow to their approach on the mic. I don't think that on a mainstream level. Even, and I say this respectfully, when Fabulous came in the door, you could tell that was that was what New York MCs had to come out and to attain and sound like. And even their beat selection, even their approach to making albums and all that, he literally was the blueprint from at least, I would say, 98, 99-ish to Wayne got it. I would say until about 08. No, I wouldn't even say that long. It might have been about 05.
Okay.
Yeah, it might have been about 05.
Is it fair to call Impact the tie right now? What say the people? I haven't been in the chat at all really today.
Yeah, I'm kind of behind on the super chats and stuff too. So
how about this? Why don't you catch up?
Yeah, and then I'll see what the people
I want to say
saying.
One thing too. We're gonna do a lyricist list after this.
We should do that.
People that are putting like the lyricist in. Like, we're going to do a lyricist list. We're doing an overall MC list.
Where it's just all bars.
Criteria. Like, and this is a solo MC list, too. Like, somebody like Chuck D, well, he checks all of these boxes except for, like, the main one, which is, like, he don't have no solo material. That matters, Mike. It's 2023. So many niggas have made solo albums. Biggie's made 2 records that are, like, 25 years old. They sound glorious. They sound glorious still. They're solo shots.
Well, that I disagree with you on because it's difficult to say.
You want to slide? I mean, I love
it's Chuck. Difficult to say somebody who did all the rapping and was holding down 3 verses on a song doesn't have solo criteria.
Are we sliding Chuck in on a little, like, is Chuck getting the asterisk and getting the slide in? Because I'm cool with that. Because Public Enemy is like Chuck he's as much of a front man as a front man can be in terms of handling the rhymes.
I mean, yeah.
It's not a. How about this? It's not a Black Thought with the Root situation.
No, it's not. They never really featured any other rappers on there.
We can
Let me
have that
get through this.
conversation. I'm open to that. Catch up with the super chats,
Yeah.
and then let's have this Rakim J thing and place Ye and push forward and get a proper list.
This is fun.
Not gonna berate me on Twitter all day.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Say make you don't think releasing Hand of the Dead Body or Never Seen a Man Cry as a single is taking a chance." Oh, Mike, you don't think that releasing Hand of the Dead Body or Seen a Man Cry is taking a chance? No one could do what he does. That's a good point. I think that Scarface did put out some records that nobody else would attempt to even do, especially in that time period. That's fair. I guess what I'm saying is he kind of stayed into his comfort zone when it came to his approach of making albums. Only if we're comparing that to somebody like Kanye West. That's all I'm saying. Peter Parks with the super chat says, "Ye is a top hip hop artist all time, not MC, but this list is solid." Well, this is an artist list, I think. Nas the GOAT with the super chat says, "Lupe should be in the 20, even though I think he's top 5. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, "Honestly, at this point in their careers, I would put Cole on this list before Kendrick." DeCarlo with the super chat says, "Y'all said in the last show that Kendrick wasn't even over Drake and Cole as far as his era is concerned. So how can he be top 20 before them?" 007, shout out 007 with the super chat. He says, "Ye impacted on the culture at a higher magnitude. Based on his discography, you reach for Ye due to assortment of high quality records. Big Convo is interesting. He didn't actually live through different eras stylistically. Musical turn. But
the music did. That's what I'm saying. He didn't live through the era, but his music did. What did that say about how great he was while he was here?
We're going to talk about
through the eras.
I got theories on how that happened, and I think that's an incredible feat that both him and Pac were able to do. DeCarlo with the super...
It's not an incredible feat. It's called making all-time great music.
I agree. I agree with that.
You don't got to spray the shit on that you already got within you. You don't got to spray it on.
We're going to talk about it because I have theories. DeCarlo with the super chat says, "Coop, does Eminem at least make the top 30?
Before we even get to Eminem, because that's about to be a whole discussion, let's finish this Rakim, Jay, Kanye, Tupac, Biggie thing and round out this top, since apparently I made a glaring omission by leaving Kanye out of this.
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, "Please deduct points for bad albums like Kingdom Come and Nostradamus, and elevate for classic albums with no fillers." But we would all have to agree on what bad albums are. What I need to do is we need to have some posts that have bad albums in them and see which ones people like the most of the group of bad albums. I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure if you throw Kanye's quote unquote bad albums in the mix with some of the all-time greats bad albums, his bad albums would win.
No, it won't. Ye won't beat Nostradamus.
Yes, it would.
No, it won't. The Ye album? Not Yeezus, Ye.
Oh, you talking about the one with 7 songs?
Yeah, you said worst album.
Now that is his worst album.
Okay, that Nostradamus is better than that. Is it not?
I don't know.
That ain't no I don't know.
I don't know.
Last Words is on Nostradamus. Name one thing like Last Words or Shoot 'Em Up or Come and Get Me that's on freaking Ye. That's why I'm saying when people be saying that, it's no. Nostradamus is his worst album. That ain't your favorite rapper's worst album, though. Your favorite rapper done worse than that. Kanye Evidence.
You should have put Nasir up against Ye. I mean, it's 7 songs versus 7 songs. I don't think that's fair.
Ye.
Actually,
easily.
You need to put a full-length album up against Nostradamus.
To quote Snoop Dogg, "Don't get pimp slapped." Nasir beats Ye, in a landslide.
DeCarlo with the super chat says, "The only female I would consider is Lauryn Hill with an asterisk for obvious reasons, but she does have 2 albums with songs just like Biggie that would crush a lot of these guys on here."
She got 2 albums with songs. Songs she's singing on.
She don't have 2 rap albums, guys.
Read the criteria.
I guess you should have
Criteria
put 2
tells
rap
you.
albums. Uncle Fran with the super chat says Cole can and had rocked every major arena in the country. There are levels to being able to entertain 20,000 people for 2 hours by yourself. Yeah, does Jada do that? Jay Short with the super chat says, even though my ears say different, I think that Pusha and Common over Jada and Method Man for this list purposes. Catalog has to count. I do think that and I know this is going to get complicated, and we do get complicated. We should do that. That's what makes us who we are. But I don't think that voice should count for the same amount of points as catalog and songs. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a percentage breakdown.
No. Yes, it shouldn't. I'm going to tell you why, because we talk about this all the time. Well, there are plenty of people walking around here with Chuck D and Ice Cube and Scarface and Tupac's content and Nas's content, and they don't have those fucking voices, and we don't listen to their albums, and that's why voice is just as important. All those things that you get to listen to, with the exception of a couple of guys, and when I mean a couple, it's like Jay-Z, Kanye. It's the voice that gets you to listen to the albums that become classic, that become legendary. Those songs. It's the way that they do certain things vocally on those songs. People still going around Hail Mary like Tupac. Like, that's what I'm saying. No. That shit matters. Because the album ain't about to play from end to end if the voice not dope like that. Tell me Chuck D. Okay, give Chuck D Big Sean's voice and tell me that Bring the Noise and Fight the Power and all those albums are the same.
You want to hear Big Sean do Bring the Pain?
I'm not sure, and I'm not saying that to throw any shade on Sean, but it's like Chuck D, arguably greatest rap voice ever. Big Sean, okay rap voice. Give Chuck D with that rhetoric, Big Sean's voice. How far is Public Enemy going?
And we gotta, and with that being said, we have to give
that shit real.
We gotta.
You know how Pac comes in on Thug Love? You remember Thug Love?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that's not his voice that draws you in like that.
We got to give Kanye a lot of credit for not having that and still being able to command any and everything to the magnitude he does.
No, that's like I said.
Because it's more about what he says. It's more about what he says. And we remember everything that this guy has said.
Yes.
He has lines that stick with people forever, for better or for worse.
No, you're absolutely right.
When he get on, leave your ass. Everybody knows. All right, 36 Chambers with the super chat says, where does someone like Doom fit? Is a large inspiration to Yasin Bey and arguably one of the most impactful artists of the internet era. All heads I know still listen to Doom and is a favorite MC of other rappers. Doom is high, in my opinion.
He's not top 20, and he'll be top 20 on the lyricist list based on probably that criteria we're going to come up with.
Is his impact bigger than Jadakiss's? I think from an impact standpoint, yes. You don't think so?
I'm about to unplug my mic.
Really?
Really?
Huh. I think it's a conversation.
Okay. I think Biggie wanted to record songs with Jadakiss.
But I'm talking about impact. You're talking about something different. I'm talking about impact.
Okay, so when you're talking about impact, how are you measuring impact? Because it's like, do you hear people trying to rhyme like Doom? Because I know plenty of New York niggas that's been trying to rhyme like Jadakiss. Like, check the New York mixtape scene the last 20 years.
I'm talking about. I mean, it's not a local thing when it comes to Doom, and I say that respectfully. It's not a New York MC thing.
But not being funny, it's like, well, where's the evidence that you're talking about since it's not a local thing?
Well, I'm talking about all of the underground MCs who have. He created a whole lane for that underground movement in the internet age. As
the Locks were underground once. Wu-Tang Clan was underground once.
But the Locks didn't
at the time when the internet was popping with it.
I understand.
So it's more of a timing thing than an actual him thing.
Jada doesn't have a mad villainy. He doesn't.
That's fair. No, I'll give you that. He doesn't have a mad villainy.
Dame 252 the super chat says Kiss got blood pressure off of We Are the Streets. That's a classic. Okay.
I didn't love blood pressure, but he's got other stuff,
DeCarlo with the super chat says Kanye has made better songs than Jay-Z, and in my opinion, long surpassed him as an MC in every way, except for lyrics. That's what y'all scared to say. No, I said it. I
Mike just
said
said
it.
it. That's why I just said let's have the Rakim J conversation since you feel like it's a conversation with Ye, so we can be clear. That's why I was like, so Impact, are we calling it a tie for Jay and Rakim?
Hold on,
Or
let
you
me
got more
finish these super chats. I'm almost done. Almost done.
No, that's cool.
Jay
Take your
Short
time.
says,
I'll be
"What about
here all
the
night.
what about the ear test? I always say, who would I rather take in a cipher, in a close call or tie? Yeah, I mean that matters, but again, that comes down to just rhyming skills.
See, I think that ear test that he's talking about, Mike,
Is
I
what
think
throws artist lists off.
that's more of a lyricist thing. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, oh, that's where Kiss get high marks. It's like you hear that nigga start rapping.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and you're like, oh shit. Like,
same thing with Black Thought.
Yeah, like, oh no, give me that guy.
Yeah,
right.
I
But
would never
like,
sit here and say that. Yeah, Kanye West could out rap Black Thought, but if we're talking about everything all together, I would have to rank him higher.
Okay.
I'm almost done. Almost done. Mad Max says, "Why isn't LL top 5? I mean, Tupac, Ja Rule, Fabulous, Big Sean, Drake, Lil Wayne, Jigga, Nelly, etc. They all LL sons. LL literally is hip hop's blueprint. Him and Rakim are the two most significant MCs in history. I can't deny anything you just said." 36 Chambers says, "Y'all just answered my doom request inadvertently since you're doing a desperate lyricist list. I feel like he's like for sure belonging in it somewhere. Doom is that dude, man. And
this is the shadiest following on YouTube. I'm pretty
what
certain.
you mean?
No, Doom is not that dude. Stop that. Doom don't just.
Doom was that dude.
Okay.
I disagree with you, Coop. CJ the Kid with the super chat says,
he's not making the top 20 list, and you know it. I don't even know why you're about to egg people on like he is.
Guru said it's mostly the voice for a reason. Yes. Mr. DJ Davis with the super chat says, Nostradamus wasn't a bad album. It was just a bad Nas album. Ye is just a bad album. DeCarlo with the super chat says, Coop, if Pac wins this versus against Rakim, he deserves to be above him on this list. I actually want to challenge Rakim's catalog with a lot of guys on this top 20 because I think he loses to some. Okay, as a Rakim fan, I will take that on. This is the battle for placement here. We're doing a chair placement here.
First of all, when you talk about the God, you need to watch your tone. You need to watch your tone. I don't like how that super chat came through.
Listen, bro, I got paid in full. I'm fine. I got paid in full.
I have Tupac. I'm fine too.
Oh yeah.
With this list, they're right next to each other. Are we cool with our super chat?
Yeah. We're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Okay, so we're giving Impact, Jay-Z, and Rakim. Are we giving that a tie?
We can give that a tie.
Live performance, Jay. Lyrics, storytelling, Rakim.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would pick Rakim over anybody lyrically before any of the Jay-Z fans get mad.
Yeah,
I would pick him over Nas.
Ain't nobody trying to hear what they're trying to say about that one.
I would pick Rakim over Nas lyrically. I would.
Classic, and you'd have a point. Classic albums / songs.
Well, that's Jay. But see, this is the problem I have with that. Coop. I'm not sure. This is the problem I have with that.
Because
let me break this down real quick.
Let the rhythm hit him.
Let me break this down real quick. I think that volume of classic material, especially timely material, at its point, that's Jay, right? But if we talk about the songs that have the most legs, I don't think Jay-Z has a paid in full. I don't think Jay-Z has an Eric B as president. I don't think Jay-Z has a he might have a I Ain't No Joke. Thing. Huh?
I don't think he has a microphone thing. He has Dead Presidents. That would be the I Ain't No Joke record.
But I'm talking about a record that you put on right now and it just does what I Ain't No Joke does or what Eric B as president does. You know what I mean? And I say this respectfully because we talk about LL. That's like talking about a Rock the Bells. I don't know.
You can't recreate that.
I don't know if Jay has a Rock the Bells. I don't know if Jay has a Rock the Bells, and I don't even know.
You can't recreate. Okay, that's now. Here's where Mad Max is very correct, and so are you. Oh, that shit that like when Ain't No Half Stepping comes on, when like South Bronx, My Philosophy, The Bridge Is Over. Children's Story, Rock the Bell. Like when those Eric B is president. When those you can't fuck with that.
Because a lot of the stuff a lot of the stuff that Jay made was for the times. You know what I mean?
So here's what I'll tell you: the classic albums and songs belong to Jay, but the longevity of albums and songs belongs to Rakim.
Oh yeah, no question.
So we have a tie, one for Jay, one for Rakim. So it's 2-2-1. Classic collaborations. I think that would be Jay. Career longevity, quality. That would be Jay. Voice, that would be Rakim. So Jay. So hold on. So that's 4-4 with the tie.
I think based on how not close some of those categories that were won by Jay are, I think Jay gets that. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Okay, yeah. So would you like to do the same thing for Rakim and Ye?
Sure. Why not?
Because you said Ye was top 3 to 5, so we need to find out if that's true.
Okay.
And if so, place people properly. So impact, Rakim or Kanye?
I don't know. I mean, I think the thing is, man, Rakim changed.
We're talking about hip hop. We're not talking about fashion and all the other stuff.
No. I feel you. Rakim changed the way people rap, but so did Kanye for his era.
Are we going tie again on impact?
That could be a tie. I mean, I think Kanye could be one of the most impactful rappers ever. And like you said, we're talking about stuff that ain't, and I'll say this respectfully, when it comes to Wayne and Tupac, we're not talking about tattoos and stuff like that. We're just talking about the music. Like, Kanye changed the whole content wave for mainstream guys. And I know people are going to say, Little Brother were around and this and that. No, not on no Grammy stage doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
No, I hear what you're saying. No, I hear everything that you're putting down. So, live performance, Ye?
Yeah.
Lyric storytelling, Rakim?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1-1-1. Classic album songs. Are you giving that the Ye?
Yeah.
Okay. Longevity of album songs. Because the same thing that you just said about Jay, I can tell you, but where's Kanye's Eric B as president?
No, that's
Gold Digger's not it.
No, that's Rakim. No, I'm with you on that.
Okay. Classic collaboration. That's obviously Kanye.
Yeah.
Career, longevity, quality. Now pause. Because I would tell you, if I'm just being honest, Mike, he hasn't made anything stellar since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. When was his first album?
2004.
Okay, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is what, 2010?
Yeah.
That's 6 years, Mike. Now, in fairness, Rakim got Verse of the Year for us in 2020 for his verse on Busta Rhymes' ELE. So if we're talking about career longevity, quality, I'll tell you it's Rakim, just because Kanye's peak is about as peak gets, but he ain't giving us no classic album in 12 years, Mike. I'm very, very clear about that.
No.
And this is his time and his era where he supposedly has been the man. But really, if you look at it, it's like 2004 to 2010 is when he was the man, like musically.
I'm going to be real, man. And this is somebody who, I respect creatives to the highest. And I think Kanye is a top-notch creator. Just like how we need a great album from Kendrick very soon, we need a great album from Kanye West very soon. He needs that. He needs that. You know what I mean? And it's been a long time since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Obviously, people are all over the place about him as a person and some of the things that he's talking about. But these scatterbrained efforts that, he's done, I mean, like I said, I respect many of them creatively. But as far as just putting together a great effort, especially after what we just saw Nas do with KD3, KD2, Magic, and all that. If Kanye is one of the greats, which I know he is, he needs to be able to give us a great effort very soon.
Thank you for saying that, because people understand, and I don't understand. I think our following was smaller then, but I wrote Donda harder than I wrote Kendrick's album. People just didn't witness it because they weren't here. Mike, there were times when I wouldn't even let you talk about it. I was like, Mike, if you don't stop talking about this mid-ass album that got 9 good songs out of 30, trying to pass it off as some sort of coming to Jesus meeting that it's not. Like, I've been said that about it. I've been said that Ye was some trash. I've been said Life of Pablo's not like that. I've been saying that this stuff ain't been no good since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I like Donda. I think Donda suffers
Donda ain't no good.
I think Donda suffers from a lot of things that Drillmatic suffers from.
It suffers from good production, and it's Kanye West. And where the fuck is the engineer? For the last time, we're going to ask for the engineer for Donda.
And the other part of it is I like Life of Pablo, but I feel you. I mean, this is the thing. When we're used to somebody,
if we judging Kanye against Kanye,
yeah, you're right. Like I said, when we're
this
used
shit
to
ain't no good.
When we're used to hearing somebody make the college dropout, late registration, graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and those type of cohesive efforts, it's like Outkast, right? Like when Outkast was coming with the cohesive efforts they came with, Stankonia kind of threw you for a loop, but you dealt with it because it had the hit records. But Idlewild, it's not it. And for somebody else, it may be okay. But for Outkast, Idlewild's not okay. So I feel you on that. But I think Pablo had its moments. Again, too long. He's been having editing issues, it feels like. You know what I mean? And that's his strong point. He's a producer. Yeah. And not only is he a producer, if we look at what he did in his best era of producing albums, he's probably hip-hop's best hardcore arranger as well when it comes to putting albums together. Now, RZA's RZA, and what he did with the solo efforts of the Clan is incredible. But with Kanye, man, we got somebody who made a classic effort for Pusha T, was pretty much the whole emphasis of the classic blueprint for Jay, made a classic album for Common. Like, he's all over the board with his ability to put together classic albums for people, even John Legend. So for him to be out of sorts with that, it's not acceptable. And that's really what happened to It's Almost Dry.
But it's been out of sorts for the past 12 years outside of Daytona.
Daytona was a moment, clearly.
That's what I mean. But this is what I mean. Okay, so Daytona is looking more like a victory lap. And I ain't talking about Nipsey Hussle's album. You feel me? I ain't talking about Nip album, Long Live.
I feel like he can do it again, man. I feel like he can do it again. But he got to do it, though.
But the way that we wrote Kendrick, you know, like, because he exists unlike Kendrick, he exists on the artist / MC and production side. The executive production outside of a 7-song effort from Pusha T has literally been not even up, like, it's not even anywhere close to his standards, but it hasn't just been up to par hip-hop standards wise. And so,
did you feel the same way about Nasir? You feel that way about Nasir as well?
Oh, the problem with Nasir is the production.
Okay.
And so when you were talking about putting him up here, it's like, well, I don't think any of these guys went through a 12-year phase where it's like, well, they really only they can't say, well, the only thing I did dope the last 12 years was actually something that I produced. He doesn't have any great projects the last 12 years, right? Like any. And that's why when it's like you said 3 to 5, I'm like, well, hold on, let's put him next to Rakim, Tupac, and Biggie, because I think you'll find that it's like he might deserve to be in the conversation, but he hasn't warranted necessarily being ahead of them.
Well, let's be fair here, all right?
Right now, this thing with Rakim is tied, by the way.
Let's be fair here. I want to look at this list, and I know people are probably saying these things in the chat. We're going to get to the super chats as well. If we look at everybody outside of Nas and Jay, there was a drop off, and I'm not talking about Big and Pac because they didn't, they didn't live long enough to possibly have a drop off. Nas and Jay have had their moments, and then they jump back because they continued to work. That would probably be the lane that we'll probably put Kanye in because he's continued to work. I think the thing about Kendrick is the fact he took that 5-year hiatus and made nothing, right? But
that's what I'm saying. So Kanye doesn't necessarily. Okay, so Kanye doesn't necessarily. To me, how about this? He's not ahead of Nas or Jay, and he doesn't deserve to be because they haven't gone 12-year gaps without making great work.
And they could.
Neither one of them.
Yeah.
Neither has Rakim. Because here's what I'll tell you: it's like no. Give me the 18th letter over everything that he's made since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There ain't no Saga Begins or It's Been a Long Time on none of these albums. And so I can't put him ahead, based on this criteria, if he's tied with Rakim, I can't put him ahead of Rakim based on the criteria that we just covered, because they're tied in this criteria. And it's like, well, I'm going to give the nod to the actual MC who during his break actually came back with something that was more quality and closer to his classic level. And so that would have him at 4 right now. And then he's at Tupac and Biggie. And I'm telling you right now, if he ain't winning against Jay and Rakim, what you think about to happen with Tupac and Biggie exactly? So he's not top 3-5. He might be that guy right outside the top 5. He might be your 6th man, but I don't know if he's 3 to 5 because we got to put him up against Tupac and Biggie next. Unless you want to give him the nod over Rakim because they're tied on the criteria.
I'm not giving him the nod over Rakim. I think Rakim holds a special place because of how early he came and how advanced he was during his time period. You know, and those are things that are tough to overcome for anybody when it comes to matching up. You got to be lights out. Now, I would be more comfortable, and I'm not saying I'm doing this, but I would be more comfortable putting him ahead of like Big than I would, you know, Rakim.
Well, how about this? I'm going to say something that I realized. I put Tupac ahead of Big about the impact, and I still would tell you that Tupac's impact is still greater than Kanye's if we're actually talking on some rap shit.
Of course.
And so what I mean is like,
I think Tupac might be the most impactful rapper ever. Period.
Right. I still think that he is, and I think that's part of why he's so high. So it's like, well, if you're going, you want to go to Tupac and Kanye?
I don't want to do that. I think I got Tupac on that. You know,
right. So you think Biggie's the conversation?
Because this is the thing. A lot of the things that make Kanye great come from Tupac. Even though we don't look at them as the same based on, you know, just individual personalities. One comes off as thug life, one comes off as soft to some people. But they are very similar individuals. They're both Geminis as well. I think Big's a Gemini too. But everything that makes Kanye the standout he is kind of comes from Tupac. So I'm fine with Tupac being ahead of that. And I think Tupac's the better MC. I think that...
so you think it's a Biggie conversation?
Yeah. And I say that about Big because respectful. Of the content and because he's the one with 2 albums, you know?
That's fair. No, that's fair.
He's the one with limited material, even though I will always say this. There's nobody in music who did more with 2 albums than Biggie, period.
Okay, so let's... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But I was just going to say, but I think it's worth unpacking, and I don't think it's healthy in hip-hop for us to sit here and just act like, you know... he had a perfect resume and put him above people who actually stood the test of time and, like you said, had to adjust to things. Because even in Pac's short career, he had to adjust to the times changing.
Yes. He had 3 different careers.
Yeah, exactly. And Big never really had to do that too much. I will say this, and I've said this on previous shows. I was playing Ready to Die on vinyl right here in this office. And you could tell the stuff that was older and the stuff that came from the Uptown time period. And I think that's his one change that you would have to say that he endured. But Biggie changed the game, but never had to deal with the game changing
on him.
Yeah. And we don't know how he would have dealt with that. Now, I think he would have dealt with that very well, but we just didn't see it to judge it, you know? It's kind of like those whole Lauryn Hill discussions or Andre discussions. Like, we don't know what a solo Andre 3000 song sounds like to even really place it. We know what we would like to think it would sound like, you know?
You know, when you say that, it makes me realize that it's like, no, Kanye, this is a Kanye and Biggie conversation. Impact, would you say Kanye?
That's Kanye. And it's not by a lot. Not by a lot, because Big's impact's crazy.
Right. Live performance, Kanye?
Yeah.
Lyrics and storytelling is right. It's not a conversation. Classic albums and songs. Now I'll tell you, Ye has more classic albums, but still doesn't have more classic songs, so that's a tie for me.
I don't know, man.
That's what I mean about how heavy Biggie is. It's like, no, Kanye's 20 best songs still ain't fucking with Big's 20 best songs.
I'm okay with that, but I do think that when we talk about the collaboration thing, that might be Ye.
Okay, so name the classic collaborations that he has over Big, because we already know what Big's classic, you know, like we know what that looks like. Tell me what Ye has that's like that. Or tell me when Ye's taking somebody like a Shaq and made a classic record.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
we could even go. I mean, he's made records with everybody. Coop.
I said special though. Most of the people that he's made special records with are special guys though. That's not accidental.
Are you talking about taking somebody who wasn't special and
Yes,
elevating them?
like Toto can't sing like that, Mike. Can't you see is a classic. Shaq can't rap like that. You Can't Stop the Rain is a classic.
Shaq can rap, but I feel you. And Shaq, it's Shaq. You don't think Shaq can rap? Shaq came through on "Can't Stop the Rain." He did. He did. See, this is the thing.
See, when you're talking collaborations, you got to look at it like the artist collaboration.
But see, this is what makes it difficult for me.
Not the producer,
exactly.
the rapper collaboration.
Because it's both. It's like he's not only giving you
like
the
his rapper
production.
collaborations are like Otis and What Would Meek Do, Mike, is what I'm saying. It's like, oh, that's not enough to beat Big, though.
But you got stuff like Selfish from Slum Village. He's like all across the board. And he's done it over a long period of time.
It's like not enough. You just named Selfish, Mike.
Even the Brandy record, even the Keisha Cole record.
Not enough.
He's done so much. I'm just saying.
It's a classic collaborations, though, Mike. Classic. You're talking about really dope records.
I want to see what the people think about this.
Selfish is the only record that you name that would be a classic. Like that Keisha Cole record, that Brandy record, them ain't no classics, Mike.
Southside.
Can't you see a classic, Mike? No, Can't You See and Only You are classics, Mike. Those are classics. The Get Money remix, the original version of Get Money, those are classics, Mike.
You know what? This is what I normally don't do this during the show.
That's a classic, Mike.
Let me get through these super chats and I'm going to do something real quick.
But what is a classic, Mike? Last Days with the Locks is a classic. Notorious Thugs, Mike. Notorious Thugs. What does Kanye have for Notorious Thugs?
Hold on, I got you. Hold on.
I love the dough. Can I interest you in Brooklyn's finest?
Let me get to these super chats real quick. And
a lot of classic collaborations.
It is a lot. Malika with the super chat says, Doom is essential underground legend. Top 15 easy. Shout out to Doom. Rest in peace to Doom. And shout out to his fans. Jay Short with the super chat says, I hate to say it, Mike, but we know who is at number 20. We have to be objective. He had like 3 or 4 really good albums and has the same impact as Ye. Subject matter argument is the same as well. Who is you don't know? Yeah, busted.
Let's finish this Biggie thing, round out our top 10 so we can like get like a top 25. Because what I really hoped to get was a top 25 list out of all this, which I think we're going to get. Mm-hmm. We just need to kind of get there.
So, I want to finish these super chats real quick.
Take your time.
DeCarlo says, I got to say this, but respectfully, those Rakim classics, not messing with the singles smashes that Kanye, DMX, Snoop, and LL put out. I think we only giving him the edge because of his lyrics.
You weren't there. The people that were there, you have to understand that, okay, so what you saw happen with Biggie, where it's like, Biggie would have a single that was out that was popping, but he would have a street record that was popping as hard as his single. Mm-hmm. You have to understand, Rakim's records on Paid in Full and on Follow the Leader, especially, and somewhat on Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, they were both of those things at the same time. It's like the single was the big party record and it was the street record at once. And I've literally heard that from so many countless people. And I've heard that from them because I always put Nas ahead of Rakim, and they always remind me, you wasn't there. Yeah. You wasn't there when the God ran shit, Coop. It was like his singles was the shit that everybody was playing in the streets too. You couldn't go anywhere. And so nobody's really had it like that, including Jay.
He got bangers.
Big, including Nas, including Pac. Those guys have always had to make an A-side and a B-side. His A-side was the B-side. Like Microphone Fiend is the single and the street record. Nigga, what?
Real. Yeah,
that's real. That happened.
I know Russell Simmons was saying he used to always make sure that LL made a B-side for every A-side hit single he had. And Rakim didn't really have to do that per se.
No. Microphone Fiend and Follow the Leader are street records, but they're hit records too.
DFW Herbie with the super chat says, Life of Pablo is fire. Y'all bugging. I'm feeling you, man. I like Life of Pablo.
Fire out. We need to put the fire out. Y'all are lying.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Chad is confused, y'all. Is this a top 10 MC or top 10 hip hop artist? And what is the distinction between MC list and the lyricist list? Well, the lyricist list is just straight up bars. The MC list is a hip hop artist. You know what I mean? Like the MC encompasses all of those things, right?
As in, your voice is part of what gets you signed and gets you noticed and recognized, as opposed to somebody on the underground who vocally may not be as great, and their voice may be what's keeping them from getting that deal. That's real.
And the MC knows how to put together songs and move the crowd.
And albums.
Yeah.
And have impact.
Yeah, you can be a lyricist and can't move the crowd like that. You know what I mean? DeCarlo with the super chat says, forgot to mention Pac and Big in the last Rakim comment. All right. Let's see. I wanted to go.
So what? So Big and Ye are tied too, Mike. That's what I'm saying. He's tied with all these guys, and he's not getting the tiebreaker.
DeCarlo with the super chat says, in 10 more years, Drake is going to have more hits and hit features than a lot of these guys combined. So I need an honest assessment about where y'all got the Toronto kid.
I think that's where the ghost right, because, okay, Mike, are you comfortable putting Kanye at 6? Is that okay?
I'm cool with that. Chris Hogan with the super chat says, what's Jay good album after American Gangster? Y'all don't want to have this conversation. We do not want to have this conversation. Okay, you know what? Hold up. American Gangster is what? 2007? 2007. Blueprint 3 is 2009. So we talk about 96 to 07. That's only 11 years. And I say only respectfully, but you know what I mean? It's not a long time.
04 to 10 is a shorter time, though, Mike.
No, you're right. No, I'm just saying. I wasn't talking about in relation to him. I was just saying in general.
Oh.
Man with the super chat said, but at least he's active, though. You know what I mean? Man with the super chat says, Happy New Year. May it be prosperous. Where's Cypress Hill on an all-time group list? They were highly influential.
Don't be coming up here and changing the conversation, Madman. You're not about to start off the year doing that. You're not doing that. You're not about to start with last year's shit.
He said, y'all over Coop and for Ye. Mo Better with the super chat says, where is Shaq on the list? Right. Andrew Green with the super chat says,
we're blocking his comments in the super chat.
Andrew Green says, have y'all noticed when 3,000 raps on features, it's usually a lot of bars? In Cass, he only did one verse a song. Do y'all think that he never released a solo album because it's difficult formatting songs with a hook? I have a theory. I believe that, as a professional artist and as somebody that, was as successful as Andre, is as an artist and who was such a standout during his time, I think that he probably went in the studio and attempted to record some solo songs. I think they might not have turned out how he wanted them to turn out. Is that a far-fetched idea to think, Coop?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that what you spoke of happening to Kendrick actually may have happened to Andre first, which is that you were saying during this break by Kendrick, you're like, no, Coop, he's making records.
Mm-hmm.
The records just aren't good.
Right.
And that's why the delay is going on. And I was like, no, you're tripping, because it's Kendrick, and the records have never not been good. And you're like, well, then what rational reason do you have for a man this talented, that raps at the level that he does, hasn't given us any material to go off of? And the truth of the matter is that we've been so enamored with Andre, and some of it is the Southern, it's like he's kind of like the South's unicorn,
Yeah.
And the rest of the rap regions know it too. He's their unicorn too. It's like, oh, well, they have a guy down there and he could be the best.
He's special.
He's special, but he don't really, rap like that. And so when you don't rap like that, and we don't have any evidence that you know how to make a 3-bar or 2-bar song with a hook and a bridge by yourself, well, how can we defend you is really what I would say back to you. It's like, well, I can't really defend him. I'm not going to say that he can't do it. He's left me with no evidence to defend him appropriately, though, so he's going to have to do some time behind that, at least like some probation with some community service.
Shout out to my OG Chris, man. He used to come to me all the time. Was like, man, Kane better than 3,000. And I'm sitting here like, nah, man. And then he's sitting here. Yeah, he is. No, but this is young me talking, right? Trying to defend Andre. Yeah. And so Chris is sitting there like, yo, man, Kane got these songs where he just going for 48 bars or whatever. He got he got Ain't No Half Stepping. This man ain't even got a song by himself. What am I supposed to say to that, guys?
He rapping so much on Raw. I forget how many verses Raw is. It's like, is it 4 verses? Is it 5 verses? Like, nigga won't stop rapping.
And then when Chris comes to me, it's like, well, what you got for this song? Well, I'm going to play one verse? What am I supposed to do?
I mean, forget stuff like Raw and Ain't No Half Stepping. Like, what do you even have for, like, the Lean On Me remix shit? Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It matters, man. Jay Short with the super chat.
Matters.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Mike, I was referring to Eminem. All those arguments you're using for Ye could be used for Eminem. Just saying.
No, they couldn't.
Ooh. How so? I want to know why Eminem's not on your list.
I almost jumped on Twitter today and was like, man, all y'all smoking crack cocaine. Like, it must be the 80s all over again.
Well, once we get through...
Is there 2 for 5s going in the street now? Y'all getting high again?
Once we go through some of this, I want you to explain to the people why Eminem's not on your list, because people would think this is me.
Have you heard the criteria and how hard it was for Kanye to get it number 6 with all of those classic albums, with all those indisputable classic albums? You see how hard it was for Kanye to get it number 6?
Yeah, 36 Chambers.
You were talking about Eminem getting in the top 20? Crack cocaine 2 for 5.
36 Chambers says Drake is on the list with NSYNC, Madonna, and Eminem. Man is on a pop list. And even if he were on a hip-hop list, his ghostwriting tarnishes any chance. Now, this is my thing with Drake. And to answer that question, well, not that question, but the previous question, I think it was DeCarlo. I just never really viewed Drake as a nice MC like that. And I guess somebody could say the same thing for Kanye. But I think Kanye has given us brilliant rap moments. Again, I could point to Through the Wire. I could point to Heard Him Say. I could point to, even stuff like Touch the Sky. And a lot of the things that Drake has been able to do where he does touch on some of those things, you could tell come from Kanye's chamber. Like even Successful and things like that. And so... I don't know, man. I just never really been that impressed with Drake as a MC, per se.
You want to know why? In my opinion, it's because he's kind of like the classic case of a great system quarterback. Yeah. He's like I don't want to say Jimmy Garoppolo because he's better than that because his hook game is nice and he's like on a higher level in his field than that. But when you look... How about this? When you look at the numbers that Tua was putting up before Tua got hurt, before Tua was getting hurt, like when you were looking at the numbers, it's like Tua was in the MVP conversation. And it's like, oh, is Tua that good? It's like, well, he can be if you put him in the right system, in the right environment to thrive, and he's not getting hurt. And so I think we kind of look at Drake maybe the way we look at Tua. It's like nobody thinks Tua is fucking with Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert and Deshaun Watson, or the version that we remember of Deshaun Watson. But the numbers and the way that he was playing, he was playing right there with them because he had a great team and system and coordinator in place. And Drake has a lot of those things too. But it's not to be confused with making this list.
I think you're right. And I didn't think about it in that way. When you look at somebody like Kanye, he put the rock on his back when Jay retired, right? And he did that. And then with Wayne, he put Cash Money on his back. I just don't see Drake being able to do that. He needed the support of Wayne and Nicki. I think they all kind of needed each other, but Wayne didn't need them at that moment when everybody left Cash Money. Kanye, when Jay retired or whatever, and Rock was broken up and all of that stuff, these people put those labels on their back. And you're right, that whole system thing shows you that Drake's thriving, but he's thriving in a system. He's never had to deal with those things. Even when T.I. got dropped from Arista, and he put that whole Grand Hustle thing on his back and rode the team to victory.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm about to say. This is why Wayne's on this list and Drake's not. And people need to put a little bit of respect on Wayne's name today. I think y'all keep forgetting that Wayne was part of a group and a collective that was making classic material before he ever blew up really solo. You feel me? Oh no, he's on a lot of classic records a la Snoop style too. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
And also too, he not only rode the first wave of the first fad of his company's thing, he stayed for the transition with stuff like 500 Degrees, and then he helped create the new wave. Wayne then had about 4 careers too. And so when people are like, he don't deserve to be on there, but y'all talking about Drake, it's like, no, this is where people got the game backwards and they don't understand. Wayne been rapping since he was 13. He's our age. He was there before Cash Money was an Army nigga, a Navy nigga.
You know, this is my thing with Wayne and the utmost respect that I have for what him and T.I. as well. It's like, he put Cash Money on his back. Like, that label...
But it wasn't popular, Mike.
No. That label would have been dead and gone if it wasn't for Wayne. Wayne kept that record label alive. When Manny left, because when Manny left, that would have been the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was already teetering when it was just the big timers left. But when Manny left and Cash Money continued to thrive, the only way they were able to sign Drake, Nicki, and whoever else was off of the work that this man was putting in.
I told you I was sitting in the limo with him when he was down here in concert. He was telling me about Drake and Nicki. He's like, your shit is tight. He was like, but I already got a whole new game plan worked out. This is, right before they started, a year maybe before they started popping. But like, no, Wayne stayed down. That's why I'm saying, it's like, you want to talk about somebody saying 10 toes down? Like, people literally was walking around like Cash Money done.
As an artist, Wayne sat Birdman down. Like, you know what I mean? Birdman was trying to be Diddy out here. He was doing a decent job of it too, because Birdman had hits.
No, he was not.
No, he had Number One Stunner. He had Neck of the Woods and all that stuff. He had some stuff that was circulating.
All he had was Stunting Like My Daddy.
Well, that was the album that they did together. But again, he was doing, like I said, on some Diddy shit when Big passed or Big was murdered. Diddy felt like, okay, I got to put the label on my back. Had Mace or whatever. And so they were running that Puffy and Mace gambit. And I think that Birdman was like, well, everybody's leaving. I kind of got to do what I got to do. But when Wayne started stepping up to these levels, Birdman's like, well, shit, let me sit my ass down. You know what I'm saying?
Probably heard what we heard. He heard the Carter. He was like, I'm going to say less. It's like, thank you.
But that's because of Wayne. Like, period.
No, you're right. That's what I mean. So, like, Wayne's on this list. Drake is not.
Drake couldn't do that. I'm sorry, man. I don't know this, but in that same situation, y'all close your eyes and imagine Drake in the same situation that Wayne was in 2003, 2004. He couldn't have got on no mixtape run doing what Wayne did.
And he wouldn't have made no Carter 1 and 2.
No.
He wouldn't have made no Carter 1 and 2.
No. Not to mention the feature run that Wayne was on at that point, too. Jay Short with the super chat says, American Gangster is overrated. Put it up against I Am, and I Am wins. Whew.
So can we round out our top 10 right quick and just see that? I heard what Jay Short's saying. It's like, I don't know. That's fascinating. Nas, Jay-Z, Rakim, Tupac, Biggie, Kanye. That's the top 6. Then we have KRS, Ice Cube, Snoop, LL. Do you have a problem with 6? Do you have a problem with 7 through 10? KRS, Ice Cube, Snoop, LL in that order.
Is Ice Cube ahead of KRS?
KRS got the BDP shit. He got the solo shit, and he just dropped a dope-ass solo project last year, Mike. Like, last year.
I love KRS. You know that.
He's got the songs.
I would put Cube over KRS. I would put Cube over KRS.
How?
Maybe.
How? He did more group work. He did more classic group work and more classic solo work.
And his longevity's crazy. The consistency.
And he's actually, and Mike, he's the better lyricist. It's like, if we go in lyricist storytelling, like, Ice Cube's not beating KRS on that.
Yeah, and if we're talking about live performer,
Right. He's not beating KRS.
I'm okay with that.
That's why I put Ice Cube right after KRS.
Not to mention his freestyle abilities and his voice. They both got great voices.
When it comes to, like, the freestyle, it's like it's a Black Thought KRS conversation.
Yeah. D Gibbs with the super chat. Appreciate the love. Let's see. Let me get to the rest of these super chats and we'll round out this 10. I know everybody wants to talk about this Snoop thing that we talked about last week, and I wanted to follow up on some things. DFW Herbie with the super chat says, y'all weren't impressed with the Japanese scheme on middle of the ocean?
Okay, I'm gonna cut his water off and keep this
D
up.
Gibbs with the super chat says, in sports terms, what would you guys consider a championship in hip hop? Platinum record, Grammy Awards, album runs. I think a championship is just everybody collectively playing and rocking with somebody's stuff. Because I think that when you talk about, and I said this to somebody earlier, I was listening to Star Show and they were talking about is Keith Murray a legend or something. Or some guy called in and said Keith Murray wasn't a legend, and he said that he based that on the fact that Keith Murray was just a gold artist. And Star was like, well, you know, Vanilla Ice sold like 10 million records. He's not a legend and things like that. And I think that when you talk about records being sold, I've always told people this. Marketing teams and sales department sells records, not just the artist. It's not just you spit in the mic and you got something great and it goes platinum. It's a team effort to sell records, and I don't think that's the barometer. You know what I mean? And definitely I don't think that a committee of unknown people at the Grammys voting to give somebody an award, I don't think that's the championship gambit either.
So can I submit something to you, though? It's like that shouldn't be the barometer, but it's like he's not a legend, and here's why. Because legends do legendary things and leave legendary marks and say even early on, say and do legendary things. Like I was literally watching a clip right before the show. It's Prince getting interviewed by Dick Clark. He's 19 years old. Dick Clark asked him, he says, how long was it before, they actually signed you? He was like, put up a 4. He was like, 4 years? He was like, so they were trying to sign you when you were 15? He's like, why didn't they sign you? He was like, they wouldn't let me produce my own music. At the point that 19-year-old is letting you know that he waited 4 years for a record deal just so the label would trust him to be done with school, to produce his own music, that's different. That's legendary. That's legendary. So when people talk about like Keith Murray legendary, it's like, respectfully, at what and when and at what point? Like, we got to stop like slinging certain words around. It's like Dick Clark is interviewing a 19-year-old Prince, and he's like, you know how to play every instrument, don't you? That's legendary shit. Dick Clark has been around the world by the time Prince is popping up, and he's looking. You can hear the awe in the interview in Dick Clark's voice. Like, this motherfucker can play everything.
I think what you're talking about is iconic.
No, that's still legendary. No. What I'm saying is that moment is legendary. That's why the clip played today. It's like, what Keith Murray got this legendary that you're going to pull back up from a time even when he was in his prime and say, ooh, that nigga was epic. Because the most epic shit I remember him for is being on the interlude to the My Life album.
Really? Most beautifulest thing in this world is a legendary record.
It's not bigger than being on My Life, though, in the lexicon of black music, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's a big moment. Again, he's had an incredible career. We know his name, and we know Death Squad.
Has he had an incredible career? That's what I'm saying.
I think it could have been better. I think it could have been better if you want to nitpick or whatnot. But I think he's had.
I'm not nitpicking. I'm really asking, and I'm not trying to castigate either.
Yeah, he's had a dope career. I think the most beautifulest thing in this world is it's a record that'll go down. Now, I'll say this, and I'm not trying to be funny. When Jay Short asked like a 3-verse song of Jadakiss, I don't think Jadakiss has a 3-verse song better than Most Beautifulest Thing in This World. And that's not to castigate Jada. It just lets you know it's not easy to do those things. You know what I'm saying? And Keith Murray's done it.
You really think highly of the most beautifulest thing in the world.
Y'all mythological niggas is comical. My astronomical is coming through like the flu, bombing you. And then bombing in your crew too. And then his verse on the I Shot You remix, jeez.
I mean, first of all, Prodigy just came and took that away from him. That's what I'm saying.
But it wasn't like that's Prodigy again. No, we talking about somebody
that's
who's
legendary.
Top.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like no. That's the difference between a nigga that's good and a nigga that's legendary.
Well, hold up now.
Illuminati with
I
my
love that
soul
verse. It's
and
a
my
great
body.
verse,
Secret
and it's
Society,
Prodigy.
Trying to keep my eye on me.
I agree
that
with
shit got sampled by DJ Premier.
I know.
Ended up on Jay-Z's seminal album.
Yada yada. I feel that.
I got you. Keith Murray ain't got no bars.
But
no.
I'm here to make $1 out of 15 cents. He had to start that record off. They needed to start that record off with energy, and Keith did that. If Prodigy went first, it wouldn't have been the same. Let's just be real.
That's fine. He's great on there.
He's on a record He's on a record with Foxy Brown, Prime Prodigy, LL, Fat Joe, and who did they pick to go first? Keith.
No, and that's
that means something.
But the evidence says that Prodigy,
Prodigy's one of the greatest MCs ever.
No, and the verse is great. For the jealous, overzealous, we fellas blow the spot like bread for Marcellus. Niggas coming through and acting wild.
Y'all commercial niggas better have a
Coke and a smile. No, that verse is great.
That verse is awesome.
Legendary.
That's a legendary verse.
Mike, right there is literally a class on the difference between a great verse and a legendary verse. Like right there.
I think both of the verses are legendary. Now I think the Prodigy's verse is better, but again, when you have to start off you think that song's legendary? When you got to start off a song that's that legendary, that means a lot. When you're the person that's going first,
that's one of the best posse cuts ever to this day.
And when you have to be the first person,
it's better than 4, 3, 2, 1.
Of course, it's not even close.
Not even close.
And when you have to be the person to set it off, that means something.
But hold on. That might be the moment, Mike. That might be his biggest moment, though.
I'm here to make because all I can remember is that black and white video and he just giving it.
Yes, no, and I dig that. But hold on. Think about this. If that's his moment, think about how many moments Prodigy had just like that, like in a 2-year period around that time. That's legendary.
Definitely. We're off subject. Let's get back on.
I'm just sidebarred into who shot
36 Chambers says, with the super chat says, Mike, I must have missed it. Did you get my comment on Kanye's dumbed down lyrics? Rakim elevated Emcees to a rap lyrics. Kanye stripped down rap. I think that's a fair assessment. I think that what Kanye also did, though, and I don't think we could shortchange this either, he added some level of personality and what's the word I'm looking for? He personalized a lot of his lyrics as well. I wouldn't say dumbed down, but he was able to be witty, right? He was able to be witty and serious in ways where I think hip hop artists and MCs in general just got too hard. Like nigga, you don't smile, you don't do that. Like Kanye was able to talk about serious shit and still lighten up the mood. And that's a gift.
I think you're right. You want to know who he is? He's Scarface and Tupac content-wise without the street cred. So he don't talk the same, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Like the same way that Scarface and Tupac talk is how Kanye talk. It's just not, it's not street shit going on with it. It's like when you hearing the diary, it's like literally Scarface is on the first song telling you, don't be over here in my neighborhood with this bullshit while we feuding, or you might get your ass shot. It's like, well, Kanye's not talking like that way, but he's being direct about what's going on with his situation that way.
Even when he's talking dark, there's some level of lightheartedness and comedy in there. It's like
Roses.
It's like Russell Simmons I'll take something from the Ye album. It's like Russell Simmons wanna pray for me too. I'm gonna pray for him because he got me too. He's like, that could be me too on E! News. Like, this is some dark, serious shit, but he has a way of being able to add a different light to it that most MCs just can't do. Like, could Nas or Jay pull off the light-skinned friend Michael Jackson and dark-skinned friend Michael Jackson line? No.
He has a lot of Biggie in him in that regard, and that he has a kind of twisted, dark sense of humor about stuff.
He does have some Biggie in him when it comes to that regard.
Yes, it's that he's got that evil genius to him.
That Gemini,
ask the nurse, ask the nurse, did you do the research? She asked me, can you sign some T-shirts?
Bitch, is you smoking reefer? You don't see it. We heard. It's like, who the fuck is talking about their grandmama having cancer and saying stuff like that?
Right.
And it's like, right.
These are things that people think, though. You know what I mean?
These are the things. No, that's what I mean. He's very much like Tupac and Scarface. No, he says the things that people think where we are from and where it resonates more. It's like, well, Tupac and Scarface in the lexicon of Black society exist in a pigeon, which is called the ghetto.
Right.
Kanye's shit isn't from the ghetto, and so other people from outside of the ghetto can gravitate towards it more easily.
Yeah.
The dark evil genius and the charm.
You're right. And
Yeah.
there has to
from the
be
hood.
something said for that, because there's not a lot of people, if anybody, who's been able to successfully do that
That's
at a
where
high
he changed
level.
the game, though.
Yeah.
And that's where he fucked up the game, because it's like, oh, y'all not as funny, clever, or hardworking as Kanye.
Right. Everything I'm not made me everything I am.
Right.
Carlo with the super chat says, I find it very interesting that Kanye, 3000, Drake, and Eminem, who are all unicorns, have to fight to even be considered.
I just put Kanye at number 6, nigga.
Well, 3000 is just not qualified.
He's not gonna make this list.
And honestly, and let's just be real, if he actually had the criteria, he wouldn't have to fight to be on this list. Let's just be real. If he had the criteria and it matched what the Outkast catalog seemed to show that he was going towards, he wouldn't have to fight for this. He shouldn't even be mentioned in the scope of this conversation.
How about this? He would be somewhere between 8 to 15 in this conversation, probably.
Yeah. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, not a Drake fan, but you can argue that he put Young Money and Cash Money Universal on his back in 2012. When Wayne was locked up for that year, I think you were saying. But see, again, like you said, the system was already in play. Yeah. Cash Money wasn't in disarray. There was already a system in play. He's not somebody that's going to jump in. The machine was already working. Exactly. He's not going to be somebody to jump in a team that ain't got no coach, ain't got no system, got no players, and just lead you to victory.
Okay, so
I was gonna read a couple more super chats. I'm sorry.
Knock yourself out.
36 Chambers says Wayne's contribution in the 2000s with hundreds of solid mixtape tracks and stellar albums cannot be understated. People need to put some respect on Wayne. I think he's talking about people in the chat. Jay Short says, I think a top 10 hip hop record label list would be dope too. I think that'd be dope too. I got to do a little bit more research on some of the earlier record labels. I don't want to leave out people from the 80s and, early 90s. Free with the super chat says, are you guys actually familiar with Drake's album cuts? Do Not Disturb, Can't Have Everything, Deep Pockets?
I have emotional ass younger sisters and an emotional younger brother. Yes, I am familiar with all these things.
Nicodemus says,
I didn't even have a choice about some of those records. You understand that?
Nicodemus says, my 40 got a big nose like BDP, West Side Gun. I was just listening to that today. Got another super chat from unknown name, the $20. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the love with no message. And I think we're almost done. Mad Max got something to say. Mad Max says, my Mount Rushmore is with 4 different expressions. The King, Broken Peace, but there's more in my possession. Who gave this much return on investment? Drake bars. Taking him over Wayne. Sorry. Nah, man.
Stop that.
System player, man. I mean,
Whipper snapper.
I mean, it's just not.
How about this? This is what I mean. How about this? And I'm not saying this because he's light skinned. You think Clay career is the same outside of that Golden State system? Because I don't think Drake career is the same outside that system that Wayne and Baby and them built up. Don't think so.
Oh no, I say the same thing about Drake and Eminem. Like if he doesn't sign to Wayne at that time period, it doesn't work. It's just
not the way that it did work, because people forget. It's like those hits were his hook work, not his bar work.
No, and he needed guys like Wayne and Rick Ross on these records to add some validity to it. As much as I love Stay Scheming, that's not the same record if it's just him. He needed other people on there.
He been successful with Trey Songz.
Yeah. So
we're at 9 and 10. We got KRS and Cube 7 and 8. Snoop and LL 9 and 10. Are we flipping? Is that LL over
Let's
Snoop?
talk
Because
about.
here's what I tell you. Because for whatever you want to say about L, first of all, I don't mean no disrespect. Well, nothing but a G thing and gin and juice and like what's my name? Well, I'll take those over LL's best 3 singles. Like I think all of those records are better than Jingling Baby.
It's not a lot of people who could beat LL in the verses, and I think Snoop Dogg is one of those people who could.
And also too, I mean, and not being funny and not trying to. And this is L, and I love him. You don't have no album fucking with Doggy Style, Mike.
Not a lot of people do. And so that's
not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that this nigga wrote the Chronic with the DOC. And it's like, well, the Chronic and the Doggy Style thing, along with the single thing, because where L wins over a lot of other guys is with the impact and with the singles. And it's like, well, you don't have that over Snoop.
I mean, I think
Snoop
we kind of discovered.
So Snoop definitely got something over you. How about this? As a solo artist, Mike, he really has something over everybody except for Nas and Rakim and Doggy Style.
No, definitely. The thing is,
including Big, including Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doggy Style's better than Life After Death.
I'm gonna keep it real, including Pac.
It's better than Reasonable
Doubt. Pac doesn't have a better
it's
album.
Better than everything Pac ever made.
Yeah, Pac don't have a Doggy Style.
Yeah, Pac don't have no Doggy Style.
It is what it is.
I don't care how much you love Me Against the World. That shit is not. Hey, look here. You play Me Against the World against Doggy Style. Don't do that. Don't do that against Me Against the World. You're not gonna feel the same about that album when it's done.
No.
I'm gonna tell you the records Pac gonna win. He gonna win Temptations. So Many Tears.
How does that line up? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Temptations is tracking. Oh, you're right. Because Temptations is falling next to Gin and Juice. No, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Temptations.
So many tears. So many tears would fall. I think with Lottie Dottie. So it would beat that.
Okay.
I would think. Dear Mama's track 10. That's What's My Name. Dear Mama's better than What's My Name. Think about that. That's one of the few records that would take What's My Name off the board, though.
Yeah.
But then every record after that.
2 of the best records ever. In my opinion, some of the best singles ever.
Yeah, Me Against the World's not beating Doggy Style. Matter of fact, Me Against the World gonna lose the Doggy Style pretty bad. Like it's gonna lose about 6 or 7 records, like easy. So,
yeah, but like you said, you gotta when you talk about Doggy Style, you gotta talk about a Paid in Full and Illmatic. Yeah, that's the conversation you have.
Paid in Full, Illmatic, Purple Tape. It Takes a Nation.
This is what I want to talk about because if we want to go head up or whatever, and I think we discovered this last episode, the longevity thing. I know when we was growing up, the longevity of LL was just unheard of, right? Mm-hmm. But now we're in 2023.
It's different now.
Snoop's 30 years in the game, and I'm not even counting the deep cover stuff. I'm just talking about with Doggy Style celebrating 30 years now.
He's only 6 years after L.
He's never stopped.
He's only 6 years after L. L came out in 85. Snoop came out in 91 on deep cover.
Never stopped. 30 years straight. L didn't do that. And I know that, like I said, L was the pillar of longevity when we were growing up. Because it was like, oh yeah, L's got to have that place because he's the first rap superstar, in my opinion. You say it's Snoop. And I don't disagree with that either. Totally. But when it comes to the longevity conversation, Nas and Snoop are somewhere else right now. And
somewhere different.
Yeah. And so
nobody's been there before. And so we can't have the longevity argument for L over Snoop anymore. You know what I mean? Not over Snoop.
No, we can't. Not
and
anymore.
Here's the thing about it, and I hate to say it like this, because it matters, and it's the streets. Now, one nigga from Long Beach, one nigga from Farmers, Queens. Now, both of these is respected areas. Not even like considered to be the most notorious hoods, though. Mm-hmm. But what solo street record does L have for deep cover? The Shiznit, Murder Was the Case, Vato. Like that's what I'm talking about. When Snoop get on that street shit, though,
it's gonna be the one.
Huh?
I Shot You's gonna be the one.
I Shot You and Mama Said Knock You Out, right?
I don't really consider Mama Said Knock You Out a street record, but I think it would be more of a I Shot You, I Need a Beat type of thing. Maybe
that's not fucking with Murder Was the Case.
No, it's not. The last album that the LL put out was 10 years ago in 2013.
I think that solves that longevity conversation.
Yeah, so the longevity is, and even before
and the
that,
of it, because Snoop is still putting dope shit.
Yeah, Exit 13 was 08, and I think Todd Smith was 06. So yeah, the longevity conversation goes to Snoop now. Now, what we really want to talk about, or what I want to talk about, is a lot of the things that people had to say about Snoop in this ghostwriting last episode.
I'm gonna let you address that.
I went back and did some research or whatever, and I did hear Snoop say something about him having some of his younger cats writing some shit for him. I think he said on the Ego Trip album. I think what needs to happen, and what I would like to see happen, I don't know if we're going to talk to Snoop Dogg or whatever, but I would like to talk to somebody to get some clarifications some clarification on what records were actually written for him. And I would like for Snoop to kind of expound upon that, because people take things and just run with it when you just say something and it's like, oh, well, damn, Snoop never wrote this shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that what needs to happen, I would like for somebody to clarify what songs were actually written by somebody else, and let's match those up with everything else that we know he has done. I mean, we know, like you said last episode, we know what his pen looks like, and even with Kanye, we know that Sci-Hi wrote some of his stuff at later points in his career, but those aren't the things that we hold him the highest for either.
Did Sci-Hi write My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
I don't think so.
And shut the fuck up. Don't nobody care. That's what I'm saying. We got to start asking ourselves, like, well, how much do you care? It's like,
I think he's more so on Life of Pablo.
Sincerely. When somebody told me, it's like, you know, Tom Brady's a cheater. He inflated footballs. I was like, I don't give a fuck if the PSI is 1.2, 22.2, 13.2. If you put a ball in his hand, he's going to play football and probably beat you. Anybody trying to hear about no motherfucking pressure? You feel what I'm saying?
He was actually, I mean, to that analogy,
PSI.
To that analogy, he was actually playing better in the half where the ball was inflated to regulation. So
he blew them out the water when they inflated it to regulation.
So,
literally blitzed them. It's literally a blitzkrieg.
Jay Short with the super chat says, if Drake is that impactful, why can't he get OVO popping? Where's his Young Money, Rockefeller, G Unit, etc.? Drake is a trailer, not a tractor. Well, that would go into your notion that he's a system player.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no disrespect. There's nothing. You can be a great system. How about this? I don't know if people have noticed this, but Toronto, although in the last 3-4 years have lost DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and Kawhi Leonard, and they keep finding themselves in the playoffs because they have a great system. Like, there was a time when people thought Kawhi Leonard was better than LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Or in the same conversation.
Look, now that he's out of those systems, you see how Kevin Durant can go to any system and he's Kevin Durant. Do you see how LeBron James goes to any systems and he is LeBron James?
Yeah.
Take Kawhi Leonard out of a great system. Is he LeBron James or Kevin Durant level now?
Yep.
All right then.
That's the separator.
System. So we're talking about top 10 players, top 50, 100-ish players. And that's who Kawhi is versus who they are. That's a system player. And so when you're talking about Drake, it's like, no, Wayne a top 20-ish nigga. That nigga over there is a top 50-ish nigga because system.
Yeah.
Because then we can just give Wayne the ball. He might ball a milli.
Yeah.
Right.
He did it a couple of times too. Like
I think the only time Drake ever went like a milli on a track was the 0 to 100.
Yeah. And again, and then we found out there was some ghost situations going on.
What was that? 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot? That's what I'm saying. No, Wayne got records where Wayne just going ballistic.
Yeah.
By his damn self, just going like absolutely nuts. And he's got classic collaborations too.
Oh yeah. His
with everybody. Bling bling. Every time I come around your city.
In
like
every
people act
era.
like that's not a collaboration. People act like that early Cash Money shit don't count on Wayne shit. No, that shit count on Wayne shit.
Yeah. DeCarlo with the super chat says, you can make the same system argument for a lot of MCs. Cut it out. Who?
Not these niggas. Not these
hold
dudes
on.
here.
Who on this list is systems?
These are the dudes the systems were built around. It's like, we have a player you build a system around.
We were just talking about LL. Def Jam was built around this man.
Yes.
Honestly, Death Row was built around Snoop, if we keep it real.
Bill Walsh had an idea of what his system should be. Then he drafted Joe Montana. Then he had a system.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? You do not get a system until you get the motherfucker that knows how to run the system for you. There's no such thing as it before then. All these people, these are guys who run the system. How about this? The system of albums having multiple producers. Well, that's Nas with Illmatic. You get what I'm saying?
No.
Like, these are guys that run systems.
Mad Max with a super chat. Mad Max says, hold on, Coop. Drake is Steph Curry, not Clay.
Yes,
Wayne is
Clay.
like...
Clay. Wayne is Steph.
Yeah, Wayne is Steph. He said Wayne is like AI, and Steph is better than AI. Steph is the system. LL needs to be over big. I think you got it mixed up, Mad Max, man. Wayne's the system. Because even when those guys came in the door at Cash Money, Drake and Nicki, they were revolving around the system that Wayne had created. That whole Young Money compilation or whatever, they were bouncing off of that. No, I mean, Wayne didn't change his approach based on Drake coming there.
Can I ask you something?
Drake adjusted to Wayne being there. You heard Drake's stuff before Cash Money.
What really look like without a prime Wayne?
Exactly. Nothing.
Because I heard the Carter 2, and there ain't no Nicki or Drake or any of that Young Money shit on the Carter 2. And
we've heard Drake's stuff before he got with Cash Money. It's not, yeah. He adjusted to Cash Money, just like Nicki did. I mean, because when Nicki, before Cash Money, Nicki sounded like Kim.
Nicki used to rhyme.
Yeah.
Rhyme.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, I just wanted to shout out you brothers. I definitely don't always agree with your takes, but I love the conversation and I love the content. We appreciate that. And yeah, we can all have discourse about this. I think my thing though with the Snoop thing is I think we all look at rhyming skills and rapping skills so high that it's tough for people to put Snoop in the top 10. But he does.
We gotta get off that East Coast bias.
He does so many things that nobody else has done.
Doggy Style is very much probably our Thriller or Purple Rain, and I'm not joking when I say that. In terms of
it's a
impact,
big moment, big commercial moment.
The commercial appeal, the relatability, the everybody knowing the words, the every song being playable.
It's the Get Rich or Die Trying of the 90s.
It's how about this?
Or
when you were saying it's Darker Hell is Hot and Get Rich or Die Trying, I was like, oh, that's a fight. Don't neither one of those albums want to fight with this album. Get your ass beat on every record. Don't nobody want to come outside and get their ass whooped on every song.
These are
Darker Hell is
classics.
Hot and Get Rich or Die Trying aren't even close to Doggy Style.
Now, you know how much I love Is Dark and Hell is Hot. I'm not going to argue that one over.
You want to do that? You don't want to do that.
Mad Max says.
Well, how about this, Mike? Murder Was the Case and Get At Me, Dog are both track 6. You want to go?
Yeah.
Want to go with the Shiznit at track 5? Feel me?
Nah, I feel you. Doggy Style something else.
This shit something else.
Mad Max in the super chat says Kawhi was an injury away in 2021 from winning another chip for the Clippers. Let's relax because 2021 Kawhi was looking like Kobe.
He's a
before
KD
he popped
injury
out.
away from being a one-ring person who made a bad decision. That's what he really is. Actually, he's a KD and a Clay injury away because they still beat them with Clay, I think.
He said 2021.
Like KD and Clay had to get hurt for him to get his second ring. He's not like that.
He said 2021 Kawhi looks like Kobe before he popped his ACL.
No, KD looked like Kobe before he popped his ACL, and then he popped his ACL, and guess what? He came back looking like Kobe with a better jump shot. Nigga, Kawhi not Kobe.
The Carlo with the super chat says, so Wayne is the second greatest Southern MC. Also, I still want to know how Kendrick is over Drake and Cole when he is not better than them as far as era is concerned. Why is Kendrick at 14?
Hold on, let's get to the next cut.
Okay, we'll go one piece at a time.
Hold on. No, you're right. Let's discuss it. So he's there because of this criteria, because he ranks high on for his time. Well, impact, live performance, lyric storytelling.
Hold on. Let's stop real quick. Are we just saying his impact is high just to say it? Let's think about the impact thing. Is Kendrick's impact high?
to hear this faction of this generation tell it, yes, that's why I'm taking it into account. That's not my objective opinion about it. That is the populace that have decided, like the impact.
Where his kids at? He got kids in this era?
Oh, he don't have kids. He don't have kids.
That's a problem.
Well, when you leave for 5 years, you can't skeet. You've been celibate.
Drake got kids.
Well, Drake been rapping.
Cole got kids.
Drake and Cole been rapping.
I don't know. Where
They
do we
rap
see?
all
All
the
right, let
time.
me ask you this. Where do we see his impact?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm just listening to what other people tell me.
That's why I had to stop when you said impact. Like, where do we see his impact?
I hear people tell it the impact is so heavy that it can never be measured by the speed of light or time or even by the Lord himself.
Did he change the way people make albums?
Hopefully not based on this last album.
I mean, based on all the other stuff, even with
I feel like I'm on trial. I'm being interrogated right now because apparently when you ask questions about Kendrick, it's wrong. You're not allowed to ask questions about Kendrick.
we can't question it. It just is what it is.
You know you're not allowed to question him. That's blasphemous that you're a hater who's capping, even though this nigga ain't made no good shit since 2017.
Because when I think about impact, right? Let's say West Side Gun, for example. And when they came through with, I mean, Griselda's been around for a minute, but that 2020 push was big for them. And you could tell they were changing the game as a collective, right? And we saw, and we're still seeing, the remnants of the work that they put in. The whole sound changed for a lot of people. It really revived the East Coast from younger artists and from some, veteran artists as well. So that impact was apparent. I'm trying to think of where the Kendrick impact is.
Hold on, Mike.
Yeah.
You said something very, very key. You said something about the work that they put in.
Yeah.
Isn't they've been working these last 5 years?
Yeah.
They haven't been talking about having writer's block or going through various nefarious mental health issues that are keeping them from recording. When the last time we heard them, they said that they were the best shit since sliced bread as an MC. Lyrically, they called themselves Michael Jordan the last time we heard them.
Yeah.
They said that there was nobody close to them the last time we heard them. I'm just making sure that we have all these things clear. It's not me saying those things. He did say those things on Damn, right?
He did.
And now he comes out and acts like, well, I don't care about I can't please everybody, and now I can't do this and that and the other. It seems just very inconsistent and problematic.
And even with this album, right? Even after a 5-year hiatus.
Well, this album ain't good. That's the problem with this album.
I mean, but they're saying it's good, right? And a lot of people have it in the album of the year conversation, and it got nominated for 8 Grammys. It did. So let me ask you this. Even in 2022, what is the impact of Mr. Morale musically on 2022's hip-hop landscape from an impact standpoint?
Well, there's not really any impact to be had because the music wasn't good. And in order to make impact in music, you actually need to make good music.
But they're saying it's good. So I'm just saying this, like, if his impact was
McCarthy told people there were communists in this country, and we pulled the crucible on a bunch of people that didn't deserve it. You have to be careful who you cling to.
I understand that. What I'm saying, though, even if his impact was marginal, right? I mean, I'm sorry, even if he made marginal music and he was such an impactful figure, you would still see people, the remnants of that, or the results of his impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the impact of Mr. Morale? Are people out here wearing crowns of thorns, or, are people out here making visuals where they're changing their faces and stuff? Like,
I would hope that the Lord says, "Thou shalt not worship any other gods but me." So wearing a crown of thorns is considered to be kind of blasphemous.
Of course.
Not adopted that. It's kind of blasphemous.
Again, where's the impact? Even on a down year, an impactful person, like, let's just say Jay-Z. I think Volume 3 is not his best work, especially at that point in his career. But his impact was still there on an album that wasn't that good for him.
Record was very happy, but it had some cuts on there that you could play.
It did have some cuts, but again, his impact never suffered, even when Even let's just say the Blueprint 2.
That's because he had dope records on there too. I'm going to keep on saying this over and over again.
Blueprint 2 is when he got people to button
on
up shit and take off the throwbacks. And the impact is still there. And it's like, I don't see the
Excuse Me, Miss.
Excuse Me, Miss was a banger. It's a game changer. So, yeah, I don't know if maybe we're just giving him the impact without actually unpacking that part of it, is what I'm saying.
I mean, we can take him off the top 20 list if you want. I'm okay with that.
DeCarlo with the super chat says, where is Rick Ross in all this? Is Rick Ross more impactful than Kendrick?
I believe so. But I'm going to say less. We'll let the people decide. This is
Drake's more impactful than Kendrick.
I tried to make this list with everybody in mind and considering everybody from all places and all things. That's why even though there is an East Coast bias that exists, even within myself, because I was raised in a hip-hop culture that does so, only, I believe, 11 of these 20 MCs are from New York.
Okay, well, people are saying JID is one of his kids. It's true. Baby King, that's his cousin.
Okay, kids he don't write for, JID.
Oh, yeah. He actually literally writes.
Kids he don't write for, JID.
Yeah, he writes for Baby King. I see someone says, ask rappers like Corday. DeCarlo says, Kendrick don't got no more impact than Future, respectfully. Let's talk about it. It's real. Now that's impact.
Real.
That's impact.
Shout out to my cousin Mark Avicii. His favorite rapper is Future. Future impact is heavy off up in this game.
Very heavy.
Kendrick.
I think I wrote an article naming him the most impactful artist of the past 10 years in hip hop.
Wouldn't be wrong if you said that. There's evidence of that.
DeCarlo says Drake surpassed Wayne the same way Kanye surpassed Jay. Again, I think that the system helped him do so if you feel that way. The things that Wayne had to endure, Drake never had to endure.
You're going to stop picking, you're going to stop picking these system quarterbacks over the raw talent that's going number one. You're going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hold on. So we got Scarface at 11 and Ghostface at 12. Are we cool right there?
Yeah, I think Scarface is better than Ghost. I gotta be real, man, and you know me, man. I'm a super Wu-Tang fan.
You trying to take my man Raekwon off here?
No, I'm not. What I'm trying to do is be as objective as possible.
You think they need to slide?
How could we sit here and say that Ghost deserves to be over Wayne or somebody like that on the all-time list? I know I know. I know that Ghostface is a better rapper than Wayne. I know that. You know what I mean?
It's not even about that. When you're talking about this, it's like, he actually did the same thing that Wayne did around the same time made the better project.
He did.
He made the better album, and he did the same thing that Wayne did.
He got some
much like Wayne was not the star of the group early on.
Yep.
And has the better catalog than Wayne, even though Wayne has the bigger songs.
I think so too. Okay.
And so
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't showing favoritism to Ghost. I was just trying to be objective.
No, Ghost and Ray deserve to be where they are because, first of all, Wu-Tang's the best rap group ever. Ray's the glue guy. He's got the classics, the guest appearances, the voice, the flow, the delivery, the song. Ray's one of those guys when I'm talking about when you go through the criteria stuff, it's he checks all the boxes and he's the glue guy. Yeah. Ghost is the guy that did what Wayne did for Cash Money for Wu-Tang.
You're right.
It's the same thing, except for he made Supreme Clientele instead of the Carter 1 and 2. I think we all know Supreme Clientele is better than the Carter 1 and 2. All respect due to Wayne for making those projects. And so where I have Ghost at, I'm very clear on that. It's he made Iron Man and Bulletproof in Fish Scale too. Yeah. And he's on Enter the Wu-Tang. He has the best verse on Wu-Tang Forever. He has the best verse on maybe the most lyrical album ever.
You think he got the best verse on Wu-Tang Forever? Impossible's the best verse on Wu-Tang Forever?
Okay, so this is what I mean. When you're rating best verses ever, it's I know how we feel about Deck's verse on Triumph, right? But isn't the verse on Impossible?
No, I'm with you. I just want you to explain to the audience.
What makes you think? What brings the emotion out of you as a listener to the music? Because that's what I mean. Two of the best rap verses ever on the Wu-Tang Forever album, but it's for two different reasons.
If you
One
were
is like one is
if
that
you were
Tupac
judging
effect.
this, I think that the Impossible verse just hit so many marks that it has to be the best
How
verse.
about this? The Source, although they refused to rate the album because they was shook, they gave Det Rhyme of the Month for Triumph. They gave Ghost Rhyme of the Year for Impossible. They did. The end of the year, the hip hop quotable at the end of '97 was Ghost verse on Impossible, not Dex verse on Triumph.
As it should have been.
So, yeah, he's ahead of Wayne.
Okay.
About that I just said is the only reason that I had him ahead of Ray, because when I was actually thinking about the longevity conversation, Ray's actually getting and catching up to Ghost in a lot of things. And Ghost, much like Ye, much like Kendrick, much like Drake, oh no, he could use a dope ass project because it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. I love Ghost, but it's been a minute. And although Ray hasn't made anything like legendary since Purple Tape 2, The Wild is a dope ass album, and these guest appearances have been blistering for some years now.
Yeah.
And Ghost hasn't been doing that. And that's why I have Ray right after Ghost, because actually there was some separation, but Ray's actually caught up in the last 10 years between the Purple Tape 2, The Wild, and all the guest appearances, which he already had over Ghost. And they do come from a bigger and better collective. Ray is still one of the front men on Into the Wu-Tang. There's the Purple Tape. Lil Wayne ain't got nothing like the Purple Tape. He don't have nothing like Into the Wu-Tang. So I'm very, very clear about why Ghost and Ray are ahead of Wayne.
Okay. I just wanted you to explain to the audience.
Yes.
I'm with you on it. Jay Short says, serious question. Is Good Kid, Mad City like that top to bottom? Or is it a very good album that came out when we were looking for something new?
No, it's like that. Stop that. Poetic Justice is the worst song on there. It's like that.
DeCarlo says, Mike, every street guy I know will rank Gucci over Kendrick on all levels. What say you? I think that we have to, and that's real. I mean, I guess I'll bring up Jeezy, for example, right? Because Jeezy and Kanye were, doing what they were doing in the game around similar times. And it would be street niggas telling you they rock with Jeezy and not Kanye. I remember niggas saying that, they weren't rocking with Kanye after the College Dropout. They was fucking with G-Unit or whatever. But we could still identify the people that was fucking with, Ye, and you could actually see the impact that he was having on a group of artists, a group of audiences. We need to identify that when it comes to Kendrick.
Well, how about this? When Kanye was popping up and doing all of that, and there was competition, so to speak, well, his music was superior, and he won that race. Mm-hmm. And I think what has happened with Kendrick is that, well, he's been superior musically, so a lot of people are looking at him like he won this race. But what we've always submitted is well, what race was he running? He's been gone for 5 years, and I want to go to sports briefly, right quick. Mm-hmm. And I bought this gentleman up, quite a few times, and God bless him because he's passed now too. Gale Sayers, Mike, when we were kids, when you did most all-time great running back lists around that time, and I'm talking about like when we're like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it usually went like, and this is like around the time Walter Payton is retiring, or he's been gone for a few years, but he's still around, his presence in the league. For most people, it's Walter Payton at number 1. And in some sort of shape, form, or fashion, you're 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or O.J. Simpson, Eric Dickerson, Earl Campbell, and this guy named Gale Sayers. Okay? Now, Gale Sayers, for a 6-year stretch, is better than any running back who ever lived, including Walter Payton, O.J., everybody, pretty much until Barry came along. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he was like that. But the fact of the matter is that because of injuries, he only played like 5 or 6 years. His teams were never any good. And on those times when he was like number 4, 5, 6 on those all-time lists, we understand that while he was making those lists, that Barry Sanders was playing, Thurman Thomas was playing, Emmitt Smith was playing. Wow. And they all ended up having longer, better careers. So immediately somebody was about 5, 6 on the list, immediately fell to about 10. Then people like LaDainian Tomlinson and Adrian Peterson came along. And he's no longer a top 10 running back because even though he's as great as anybody was in a vacuum for a brief period of time, it was a brief period of time. Yeah. And nowhere do you get to dominate for 5 or 6 years and make a top 10 list And so when I have him at 14, this is me being kind to what he's done.
Well, some could bring up Biggie.
Huh?
Some could bring up Biggie in that.
First of all, Biggie Smalls is the illest.
You know why I think? You know why I think Biggie's records has such legs? I think that.
Explain this shit to you. Kendrick,
I mean, he's
Kendrick's
incredible.
Catalog, still not fucking with Biggie's catalog.
Well, see,
he still don't have 20 songs like that.
I feel you, and I think that Puff is a genius, man, when it comes to what he did with Biggie and how and the talent that he recognized that Big had and his ability to be versatile. And he even recognized when Biggie was getting better, right? Because I think he said something that I always thought, but he said it in an interview, I want to say maybe like last year, whatever. When he said Big started hitting stride during that One More Chance remix. Like, this was 95. Album was done, complete, already going, already selling. The fact that he saw that, yo, this thing is getting better. We got to get him back in the studio, remix some of this shit that he made before. That is some foresight, right? And he was able to use records that we already were familiar with because our parents played them, and they were already timeless. And he added legs to, you know, Stay With Me by DeBarge and shit, and then was able to make their own classics. And these became timeless classics because they were merging hip-hop and R&B, basically.
But, okay, you know what gave those records real legs and a real chance, though? Biggie made stuff that the streets could feel. This is what I mean. So, I know Kendrick has songs that are better, technically, than Everyday Struggle, but I've yet to hear him make a record that makes me feel what Big is feeling on that record.
Right.
And that's early on. And that's what I'm talking about, the difference about, like, well, no, he's all-time great, but stop making it seem like also in the same breath that he's something that he's not. Most of him being this high on the list is about how people feel about him, which would be impact for his generation, which I'm going to give him, and his album-making ability and his high level storytelling skills. I don't consider him to be, like, lyrically, like a Big Pun, Cool G Rap, Black Thought, Nas. No, I don't think he's that. I think he's the next step below that, but as a storyteller, he's that. And he has a lot of the tools that Biggie had. He's very personal, but that's what people forget about Big. Big can make you feel something, whether it was Warning or Everyday Struggle. Big knew how to make you feel like he was dangerous, but he knew how to make you feel like you could come smoke a blunt with him on the block in Bed-Stuy, too.
Right.
You know?
But that's hip-hop.
Kendrick don't have that. That's why this whole album is, like, very off-putting. It's like, oh, no, nigga, you're supposed to have charisma and personality to hold this throne. It can't be no, oh, I need help and I need to say, no. It's like, no, that ain't the shit that we do. Like,
but we do want our artists to be vulnerable, right?
No, it ain't about being vulnerable. We accept Dre. We accept Nas. We accept Common. Those guys are vulnerable. Even
Kanye.
Rakim's thoughts are vulnerable. Rakim shares, like, a lot of vulnerable thoughts on the mic. Kanye. We accept that. We don't accept it when you trying to sit up there and sidestep us, make it seem like you too good for us, or you always got an excuse for some shit, or if the ideology don't line up, the shit ain't righteous.
This is my thing, and again, not to get on this soapbox, I just wish, with all of the heavy content, I wish that Kendrick would do an interview with somebody.
A full in-depth interview explaining all this stuff he's been saying all these years.
Yeah, because it's like, it's almost kind of like a throwing stones, hiding your hands thing and leaving everything up for interpretation. Like, even if you got to sit down with some of the major outlets, like a 60 Minutes or something.
Hey, look here. Money. Niggas in the industry know what time it is. Like, this shit don't look good. Like the public, his fan base, can try to dress this up however they want. You can't tell me that the way that this culture has existed on an MC level, that niggas is walking around respecting this shit. Like I'll give you an example. You remember the footage and the scenes that we saw of Pusha T and Kendrick together when they was, like, listening to Kendrick shit? Mm-hmm. Notice how you never heard Pusha T comment about anything or say anything positive. Every MC that heard the album beforehand didn't say anything because they already knew what time it was. It's like, oh, if y'all gonna let him have it, we just gonna sit over here and let him have it. Like, that album ain't like that. His peers know it too. The industry knows it. Everybody knows it.
Leroy, yes, we can argue on Patreon. He's like, yeah, we got to argue on Patreon.
We out here capping like that album was good. It's a mid.
I would like to see an interview because, again, when Ice Cube was Ice-T as well was dropping their heaviest content, They would sit in front of a camera and take questions.
Chuck D, Tupac,
Yeah.
Biggie, Nas,
Yeah.
Jay-Z. It's what you do when you quote unquote sit in the chair.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, when you sit in the chair, you answer all the questions. It's what kings do, right? Now, is you a prince or is you a pauper?
Hey, I don't know, man.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like this nigga be acting like he just made Purple Rain and it's 1985. It's like, no. You don't get to tell people to jump in Lake Minnetonka, nigga. You just made some mid. You did not make Purple Rain. You do not get to tell people not to look at you at the Grammys. You are not Prince.
Hey, man, let people tell it. Jay Short says, great show, fellas. What can Cole, Pusha, or Freddie do to crack the top 20? What could Jay do to surpass Nas at number 1? Ooh. Well, I'll take the Jay question first. Jay's going to need to make 3 albums in 2 years at least. And on top of that, Nas is gonna have to take a break. On top of that,
and the quality need to be supreme.
Of course, no, that's a given.
Okay, so are we cool with Kendrick at 14, or is there some? I'm sorry, are we cool with Kendrick at 15? Wayne's at 14, Kendrick 15, Common 16. Is that wrong?
I want to ask a question.
Should Common be higher? Should Common be ahead of everybody except for? How about this? You think Common's better than Ghostface and Raekwon, career-wise? Think about all that Wu-Tang shit.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And that's the thing.
That's the factor.
That Wu-Tang, like people don't understand how heavy this Wu-Tang shit is in the conversation. It's really a viable part of the conversation. It's like, but what Common got for Raekwon's verse on Cream? Or can it all be so simple with Raekwon and Ghostface? Or I don't know, the Purple Tape, Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, the Purple Tape 2. All of these albums to a lot of people are better than B, which is his best shit.
I think I got Common ahead of Kendrick.
I'm okay with that. See how I was talking.
And I think that's just really, and I'm only factoring in not only factoring in, but I am factoring in the 5-year break in Mr. Morale. I am.
So we're swapping Kendrick and Common out. So Common's 15 after Wayne.
Yeah.
And Kendrick 16 before Redman. What do you feel about Redman? A lot of people feel like Redman may be dated on my list. How do you feel?
Man, this is tough, man. Redman's tough.
Because here's what I tell you. He's made classics, and he's always been dope and been consistent. But when I thought about the impact, and then I thought about the songs, I was like, hold on, what's his biggest songs? Like, he's got some Kendrick problems. That's why I put him behind Kendrick.
Redman's thing is he started all that rah-rah shit, that wow shit. His impact is Bullyfoot rap, which I love. This is actually one of my favorites.
How much does Bullyfoot rap exist today? With Kendrick out here making these sensitive-ass albums that we call an album of the year. Straight like that.
Let me ask you something. And
because people like Kendrick is killing Redman's legacy.
Let me ask you something. Do you think, and I'm not talking about like as an MC because we know what it is as an MC. Does Redman deserve to be over T.I. on a list like this?
Is he too much of a one-trick pony is what you're saying?
I mean, has T.I. not showcased everything?
I'm a big T.I. fan. You know how I feel about Tip. He's one of the people that I had is like borderline floating around this. I just didn't want to be respectful to the core. You got somebody like Redman that's made What the Album, There's a Dark Side, Muddy Waters, How High with Method Man and Redman, countless classic collaborations from EPMD, Keith Murray. He's on Keith Murray's Most Beautifulest Thing in the World. How's that with Eric Sermon and Keith Murray? So he's been everywhere. The El Nino album, he's the star of that. The BET Cypher, the 2016 Cypher. So, Red got some shit. Docs the Name's a dope album. The Goodness with Busta Rhymes. He's been everywhere and done some of everything. So I don't know if he's been forgotten or maybe the stuff wasn't as great or hasn't held up as well. From the way you're looking like the stuff hasn't held up as well, Coop.
I mean, when you look at trap music, Urban Legend, King, Paper Trail, and you got countless quality efforts like.
Are any of those better than Muddy Waters? And if so,
In
which
my
one?
personal opinion, no, but it could be argued that King is.
Okay.
And when you talk about
I don't see that. I
you
don't
know,
think
the
so.
songs like What You Know, and
Well, what you know is better than everything on Muddy Waters to me.
and then when you think about features like you know, even all the way down to his My Love feature with Justin Timberlake, and you got all kind of street shit that he's been
Redman
on.
got the Christina Aguilera shit.
That shit was whack, and I love Redman.
You're right. My Love is the shit. I love My
Yeah.
Love with T.I. and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
going
banger.
more for a quality conversation. You know what I mean? And
Are we talking
and not
quality?
to mention,
Because Tips made the bigger records.
and I think that, you know, even when you think about Redman's breakthrough verse on Headbanger, it's like, okay, well, T.I. has that Never Scared verse,
Ooh,
and
valid.
it's a
Valid.
conversation. You know what I mean?
Well, it's valid. It's valid. Everything you're saying, valid.
Because, and even if we look, you remember T.I.'s verse on Three Kings with Slim Thug and Bun B.
Yeah.
I mean, T.I. was on a tear.
I was thinking Dope Boy Fresh with Young Bloods and
that was crazy.
Yeah, the Dope Boy Fresh verse was the one. How about this? The Dope Boy Fresh verse was the verse that put me on to him. I was riding the Buckhead with my brothers back when they worked for Big Boy Security, and
Fresh white tee and a bubble coat. Woo!
I hadn't even been in Atlanta for a year, Mike. I was like, I said, who the fuck is that?
Yo, yeah. Yeah.
I remember not forget my brother Rico. Rico's the one who owns Black Dad Gang. He was like, yeah, he's like, that nigga nice, but he don't sound like he from around here. I was like, I don't give a fuck
He
where
from
it
the
sound
west
like
side.
from.
And maybe I'm partial and biased to that, but again, I think that when it comes to T.I., all of the off the court antics probably factor in how people feel about his music. But when you look at what he's been able to do, it's pretty remarkable, man. And speaking to the whole Wayne thing, and we talk about Wayne changing everything for Cash Money and putting Cash Money on his back. Excuse me. T.I. changed the whole sound of the Atlanta landscape at that time, because before him, everybody was running around, jumping up and down, sounding like Pastor Troy, Lil Jon, seeing who could, you know, rap the loudest. This man slowed everything down and actually got people in Atlanta rapping again.
So I can tell from how you're talking that we're going to end up sliding Redman down, because when you said all that, it's like, well, there's no way he can beat DMX. And then I started to think to myself, is Kendrick better than DMX?
I think so, because of the multiple great efforts. I don't know if his impact is greater than DMX. I don't know if song for song, I don't know if he could beat DMX in a versus type of competition.
No, he won't be doing
like that. But I do think he's
Where is he better though? Because DMX got him on guest appearances. I think he has him on Impact. Okay. I think he even maybe has him on the highest of the high with the albums, because It's Dark and Hell is Hot is better than Good Kid, Mad City. As much as I love Good Kid, Mad City, shit is not It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
But I do think To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn and
are better
Section
than
80.
My Flesh. Yeah, the rest is all Kendrick. The next 3 albums are Kendrick.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
on
maybe
live,
we move DMX up to 17 after Kendrick. Is that?
I'm cool with that. I think I would still.
Is Redman in our top 20?
Let's see. Let me look at this.
Take a look at it. I gotta go grab one of my charger plugs. Everything's dying around here.
I think that. Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to it. Let me get to the
it's
super
like
chat.
literally 10 seconds. There's one in my car.
No, do your thing. DeCarlo says, let's see 21 to 30 next, Coop. We're going to do that. We're going to do that for next episodes, definitely. 36 Chambers says, I don't think K-Dot is above Redman, though. Man. The Redman conversation is difficult for me because I'm a fan. 36 Chambers says, Redman's still putting out consistent bars for the past few years. He's staying independent now and releasing for his fans. Still hot. What's the last thing Redman put out? Because I thought that Muddy Waters 2 had been coming, but we never got it. DeCarlo says Redman shouldn't be above Eminem, respectfully.
That's bullshit.
I think Redman's better than Eminem. But I'm sure you guys aren't surprised about me saying that. 36 Chambers says Redman had a YouTube TikTok bar challenge last year. Listen to 80 bars alone in 2021 and tell me Redman hasn't stayed on. Dude is still doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We sliding. You done already slid meth off. Now we sliding red off.
I don't think we're sliding red all the way off, but just back a little bit. I think that I would still put Kendrick ahead of him.
DMX, Jadakiss, Black Thought.
I think Redman is above DMX and Jada and Black Thought.
Okay.
But I think I might be sliding T.I. one slot ahead of him though. I don't know, man. T.I. has such a strange career, and again,
okay, hold on.
He's such a dope rapper too.
So let's pause right there because so obviously what we're saying is after Kendrick at 16, we're feeling some sort of gap. So let me submit a few people to you right quick and have a conversation about them. Eminem, Prodigy, Cool G Rap, T.I., Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, Pusha T.
Pusha T.
Go. Right. That's what I mean about how hard this is.
I think T.I., man, he deserves. And again, I'm not saying that out of all those people, T.I. is the best quote unquote spitter. But if we talk about checking off all the boxes.
No, I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you right quick. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What's your rationale for having T.I. above Eminem or Prodigy or Jadakiss or Black Thought?
Versatility. He's done everything from street level to commercial level. He's rapped with damn near everybody. He has, for many people, at least 2 to 3 classics. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on who you ask. People will tell you that trap music, Urban Legend, King, or even Paper Trail are classics. He has a wealth of a catalog. I think he should have taken that Busta Rhymes verses because I think he could have actually beaten him.
So you think he's better than Prodigy?
I think he did more. I think so. Yeah. I mean, okay. I think from a straight.
No, I'm just asking so we can qualify.
Yeah.
Cool G Rap.
Yeah, and I know how this sounds, but I'm talking about with everything all together. I'm not saying he is a better bar for bar rapper than these guys.
Slick Rick.
Yeah, I mean.
Pusha T.
Yes.
Okay, so what I would tell you is that I don't think he checks more boxes than Redman, although I think he may check more boxes than Jadakiss and Black Thought overall.
I think from a content standpoint, he does, though.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's put T.I. next to Redman right quick. Impact, T.I. or Redman?
T.I.
I think that's Redman. Where's T.I.'s kids at?
T.I.'s kids are running all over the South.
No. Future's kids are running around the South, not T.I.'s kids. Respectfully. I like T.I. way more than I like Future, but respectfully, Future's children are the children running around here.
Okay, I think that's
T.I. don't have no kids. Think about it. Even look at somebody like Thug, who Tip helped earlier. He sounds more like Future than he sounds like Tip.
Okay, that's fair.
Right, so the impact for that bullyfoot rap shit, that row shit, that Eminem, Ludacris, Busta Rhymes, Old Dirty Bastard. Right.
That's Red, man.
So Red is impact. Live performance, Red.
That's Red.
Lyric storytelling, Red.
You think storytelling? Yeah.
Lyrics, yeah. Storytelling may be T.I., but you got to keep in mind, Superman Lover series.
Yeah, Redman's a great storyteller.
So it's Red. So Red's a great storyteller when he chooses to. Classic albums and songs.
That might
I think that's
go
a
to
tie.
T.I. Yeah.
What do you think? I think Redman still has the album advantage, but I think T.I. has the song advantage.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Actually, I'm okay if you want to give T.I. this because I think T.I.'s classics are real close to Redman's classics. Like, how about this? I think Muddy Waters is the best of the bunch, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next 2 records went to T.I. before we pulled the next Redman record.
Yeah.
And so I'm cool with giving that the tip. Longevity of albums, songs. I don't love how either one of their catalogs are.
I was just about to say that.
I think the way both of their catalogs are aging is making them slide actually further back than I thought they were going to be when they were at their peak.
I agree.
I'll call that a tie.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think this is the most interesting one between the two classic collaborations because I think they both have a lot, just in different ways.
They have a whole lot.
I'm going to give Redman the nod because of How High. He made the greatest song between the collabs. What's
I'm not
T.I.'s
mad
best
at
collab? Shoulder Lean? My Love?
Was what his best collab?
Yeah, best collab. Blurred Lines?
It's so many, man. He's on Blurred Lines too. It's so many. I mean, Never Scared's the first one that pops into my mind.
That's not better than
It's
not better than Shoulder Lean.
Oh no. I would say the record that he's on with Big Boy, in the A, and then the other one would be Look at the Grill.
Ooh, Look at the Grills.
That's with him going crazy.
Jeez, he blistered that. See, but this is what I mean. Those records that you just named, the Big Boy record, the A-Ball MJG record, those records ain't big. How High, Mike?
Oh, How High is iconic, yeah.
Right, so I'm giving the classic collaboration. How about this? He's actually got How High in the Rockwilder. T.I. does not have that as collaboration.
Okay, yeah, he did a collaborative album with Method Man, so.
Yeah, so that's Red. Career Longevity Quality. That's Redman.
That's too. Redman. So yeah, Redman got this one.
And Voice. That's Red too to me.
You think so?
Barely. Well, you can call it a tie. It's like, it's about what you like.
I think those two are they should be next to each other, to be honest with you.
No, I'm cool with that. I just think Redman's ahead. So like T.I.'s at 18.
And then it's what, DMX and then Black Thought? Oh,
DMX.
No. DMX Jada.
Hold on. So where we are right now, DMX is at 19. Jadakiss is at 20. Black Thought is at 21. But if I were to just put Meth where he belonged, Meth would be where. You think Meth is better than any of these guys that I just named?
I mean, in a vacuum, yes. But
he's going to be in the vacuum on the lyricist list. He's going to be higher than all these guys.
Yeah. But not. I don't think that from the criteria he deserves to be above any of those guys,
including Jadakiss.
Jeez. So hold on, that's the decision.
That's
Jada
the discussion.
Is it Jada or Method Man? If the decision is between Jada and Method Man, it's Method Man, in my opinion.
Actually, it's Jadakiss, Black Thought, and Method Man right there. Yeah.
So hold on. How many spots do we have left?
Well, I mean, I did this with the thoughts that I was going to have to make a 25. But technically, with Jadakiss, Black Thought, Method Man, we're at 2021, 22. Okay. But I knew this was going to go 25 because I knew we were going to. Anytime you do a list like this now, I've learned that you're going to miss stuff. So you need to go ahead and give your space for 5 more. So this was really about doing a top 25 list anyway. Mm-hmm. So we're technically at 2021, 22 with Jadakiss, Black Thought, Method Man, with guys like Eminem, Prodigy, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, The Game, Chuck D, Rick Ross, J. Cole still hanging out.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about
Slick
that.
Slick Rick.
What, Lupe. You call him Slick Rick?
And Lupe.
Yeah.
I just think that Slick Rick is actually still the author of one of the 20 greatest rap albums of all time. And almost everybody else that is the author of one of those albums is already on this list unless they're part of a group a la Prodigy or Chuck D.
And he has a lot of kids on this list too. He has Nas, he has Snoop, he has Ghost.
He's got Jay too. Jay's a kid too.
You think
they're
Jay
all Slick Rick children?
He's a child of
Ludacris. So is Snoop. They're all kids.
Yeah, Snoop's definitely. DeCarlo with the super chat says, if Redman is there, then Tretch should be right there. Tretch doesn't have the catalog that Redman has. And I love Tretch, but let's just be real, man. Nicodemus says Jay should not be number 2. He can't keep up with Nas's run and the Griselda effect. Either scared or out of touch. Whew, y'all are harsh. Mad Max says taking DMX over K-Dot respectfully. DeCarlo says, I'm sorry, T.I. is not getting in this before 3,000. That's where I draw the line. Why? 3,000 does not have
made something for you to color in. In order for you to draw a line, they have had to make a song for you to draw a line about.
This is the thing, man. 3,000 is not even in this conversation because he doesn't have solo material.
I said solo albums. He didn't even have solo songs for us to debate whether we should include him in the discussion. You have to make a solo rap album, my G. 1 or 2.
36 Chambers says T.I. may be ATL, but all time, is that Southern bias? This is the thing, man. T.I.'s not a local guy. I remember telling my homeboy Greg.
Locals don't love him like that.
Yeah, I remember telling my homeboy Greg, I was like, man, T.I.'s never gonna go nationwide. I was wrong as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he didn't pop up until he went nationwide. Mm-hmm. Like when he was local, everybody, I like Sean Paul more.
Yeah.
I like Gucci more. I like Jeezy more. I like Bone Crusher more. I like Killer Mike more.
Niggas like Pastor Troy more when they were local.
I was here for it. So were you, Mike? Well, I don't even know why niggas is acting like it's like, no. I remember what the talk was, and it wasn't about him being like the local fan favorite. He went national on these niggas.
Yeah, he's not a local guy. Jay Short with the Super Chat says, T.I.'s music sounds dated. He's nice, but I'd take Ross any day. Pusha over T.I. as well. T.I. is not like that outside of ATL, just like Game is L.A. The thing about Pusha T is I don't know if Pusha T has enough individual material over T.I. in my opinion.
Who are you talking about?
Pusha T over T.I.
No. That's not the conversation. My thing was the Ross thing. But here's my problem with that too is that when you have T.I. ahead of DMX, you see the way I would probably have this, I would probably have DMX after Redman. And then if I was having somebody based overall, I would put Ross ahead of T.I., Kiss, Black Thought, and Method Man about that catalog. Like he checks a lot of these boxes. He's in this conversation to me. But okay, so let's say we keep T.I. right there, DMX. Let's solve this Jadakiss, Black Thought, Method Man thing, because here's the thing. None of these guys have classic solo rap albums. So do they deserve to be in the top 25?
I'm gonna be fair. Out of those guys, man, my nod goes to Black Thought.
Now, can I ask you why?
You got me. And not to mention everything that he's doing currently, but I'm just gonna go back over different eras and what he's done on the mic. Never Do What They Do. Break You Off.
See, this is what I mean. Okay, so let's have a Method Man Black Thought conversation. Impact.
That's Method Man.
Live performance.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
I'm going to have to say Method Man because the Roots are the Roots, and that's a group.
Right.
And I don't want to be a hypocrite when it comes to the Outkast on Andre 3000 thing. So, yeah.
Lyrics / storytelling.
Black Thought.
Classic album / songs.
Black Thought.
How?
Oh, because Wu-Tang's involved.
Right. Think about the classic Wu-Tang stuff.
Yeah, Wu-Tang's involved. Yeah, that's
tell me that most of it doesn't involve Method Man.
No, that's Method.
Can I interest you in Ice Cream, Wu Gambino's, Shadowboxing? You want me to start with
if they did a versus,
The Mystery of Chess Boxing. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
If they did a versus, it would be ugly.
It would be ugly. Longevity of albums / songs. Once again.
Yeah.
Bring the Pain.
MECHOD.
I'll be there for you. Right. Classic collaborations.
Well, that's not even a question.
Career longevity, quality. Now that's where Thought would win to me.
Yeah. So that's
and voice is Method Man. See what I'm saying? Black Thought's not winning any of these over Method Man except for lyrics. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the longevity quality thing.
Right.
And that could be argued.
Right. So it would actually be Method Man after DMX.
I think so. Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, Yoke the Joker. Tret should be on this list.
See, now look, when we're doing a lyricist list, you're going to find Black Thought somewhere like 1, 2, 3, 4. You feel me? Right.
Yeah. 36 Chambers says, T.I. sounds dated to me too. I listen to Red often, but not T.I. And I love T.I. respectfully, but his style doesn't hit me now outside of trap music and King. Okay, well, the people have spoken.
I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. I'm not a big fan of putting tip. When I'm looking at DMX, Method Man, Black Thought, it's like the only thing I'm looking at the Tip has over them is the catalog. They're winning all those other fights.
Yeah, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, right?
It does.
36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, does Black Thought belong here or on the lyricist list? I think you just covered that. Michael Huntley says, nothing, just giving love. Appreciate that, Michael Huntley. Says Jermaine Johnson with the Super Chat says, of course, Future was has way more kids than Kendrick, pun intended. It's hard to have kids when your content, bars, and artistry is too complex to replicate.
Well, hold on. So, Mike, I think we need to get to this last one, and then we can maybe round out our last 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jadakiss and Black Thought would be 20 and 21. So, who's cracking that top 20 and who's sliding into the 25th? You
said
that next
Jadakiss
5.
and Black Thought is 20 and 21. I mean, if we want to talk about catalog and longevity and everything that it encompasses, I think Jadakiss deserves that 20th spot.
Overthought?
Yeah, because in the lyricist list, Thought's going to get his. But
I mean, Kiss is going to get his on the lyricist list.
He is, but he's going to be over Kiss on the lyricist list.
Damn right he is. He's Black Thought. Okay, so we got Thought at 21. And this is, hold on, and this is where I will say, this is why making classic solo material matters. Because if Black Thought had a couple of classic solo albums, Mike, wouldn't he be like somewhere between Scarface, Ghostface, and Raekwon on this list?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Exactly what I was thinking. Because here's, for whatever you think, and here's how people need to look at it. And I mean this respectfully because Thought is the walking standard for bars. Where would Cheat Codes fall in Nas's catalog?
Shit, where would Cheat Codes fall in Common's catalog? Respectfully.
Like fifth. Like, it's not better than B, like Water for Chocolate, Resurrection. One Day It'll All Make Sense, so it's at least fifth right there. Oh, and Finding Forever, so it'd be like 6th or 7th in Common's catalog.
You think Finding Forever is better? I can see that.
Yeah, Finding Forever. I mean, hold on. For me, I think B, like Water for Chocolate, and then it's like, when I listen to One Day It'll All Make Sense and Resurrection, I know what people are talking about, but Finding Forever has Kanye doing the production, and it's prime Kanye doing the production. Yeah. And that's prime Common wet rapping. So I got Finding Forever at 3rd, then give me Resurrection, and One Day It'll All Make Sense. Now, Cheat Codes might be better than One Day It'll All Make Sense.
The Game was fire, raised by
but it's
Game.
It's not better than those first 3, and it's arguable whether it would be better than Resurrection or One Day It'll All Make Sense. It's not better than Resurrection. It doesn't have I Used to Love Her.
Yeah. Jay Short with the Super Chat says, Fabulous and T.I. seem to be on the same level really out here. And I know y'all don't like Fab like that, but once 106 and Park fell off, T.I. did too. It's interesting to hear these perspectives. Because I've seen
every time people outside of Atlanta talk about T.I., we're like, he's not a local guy. Y'all are like, yes, he is.
I don't understand that. I don't know if it's the slang or what. DeCarlo says 3,000 on the lyricist list.
Yes.
Okay. We can do that. Now that we can do.
Yes.
KC1 says, y'all disrespecting Prodigy. And Mike, you on T.I. payroll?
Okay.
No, I've seen the whole thing, man. I'm not. Actually, I was very critical initially.
So can we cover the Prodigy thing right quick? Because it's a personal favorite of mine, kind of has as a Pusha T. All right, so KRS-One comes from a group like Prodigy. Classic solo album. Ice Cube, same thing. Scarface, same thing. Ghostface, Raekwon, Lil Wayne. You see where I'm going with this? Method Man, Jadakiss. Well, it kind of stops at Kiss, but you get what I'm saying? It's like, no. They're coming out of groups and they making classic shit. So how is he going to be higher than right here? Like, how about this? Is Mobb Deep better than The Roots? Because I think HNIC is just as good as Cheat Codes. Like, if he's over anybody, he's going to be over 19, 20, and 21, which is Method Man, Jadakiss, and Black Thought. Now, what Prodigy look like compared to those guys?
This is the thing for me.
Because also, too, we have to be honest with ourselves. The Prodigy that everybody's talking about.
This is where I'm going, too.
Is on the Infamous.
That's where I'm
going.
And
on Hell on Earth. And by the time Murder Music pops around, you start to see a little bit of a dip. Now, you got Quiet Storm and shit like that, and How You Want It with Cormega. But the dude that's on the Infamous and Hell on Earth, we didn't get that guy again. Even with Keep It Thorough. We got Moments. We got Quiet Storm. We got Keep It Thorough. But
I was going to go a step further than that. Once we get to the Infamy, we never got that MC again. I'll give him,
Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac.
I like Return of the Mac. But let's not act like Return of the Mac is Hell on Earth Prodigy or something.
Oh, no, but it's a dope album. You know what I mean? This is one of those things. It's like, oh, my nigga still got it.
Shout out to Alchemist too, man. That shit was hard.
Of course.
I just don't know if it's enough. That's why, as far as on a solo tip.
Okay, how about Prodigy? Is G-Rap better than Prodigy?
Man, that's a great question for the fans. I would say so, but again, I might not be qualified to say so because I
Because
wasn't.
G-Rap's stuff may not be better than the Infamous or Hell on Earth, but he does have Road to Riches. He does have Wanted Dead or Alive. He does have 456. He has been consistently making stuff. He did just drop a dope album last year.
Where does Cole fit in this though?
Cole might actually fit right here with them because the next few people I'm thinking of are literally Eminem, Prodigy, Cool G Rap, Cole, and Lupe. And Guru. No, Guru didn't have. Hold on, how many Jazz Fantastic did Guru do? Did he do
It
two?
was like 2, yeah.
Okay, you got the solo material.
Huh.
Where we putting G-Rap at? And keep in mind, we ain't got the Kane yet. And Kane is missing from here because of the album situation.
Yeah. McCain has to be here. I mean,
Right, that's
I
what
wouldn't
I'm
feel
saying.
comfortable putting Eminem above Kane.
Right, so we're at 22 right now. Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Prodigy, J. Cole.
Is T.I. and Pusha still in the conversation?
Yeah, I just don't know how they're going to beat those guys.
You don't think
how I feel about Pusha.
You wouldn't put Pusha above Prodigy? From end to end?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, it has to. It's something. There has to be something to be said about being this good this late.
No, I'm with you on that. Is Pusha T better than Kane and G Rap because of this stuff?
But because of that,
because of the lateness of the greatness.
Yes, but the thing is, at his peak, he wasn't a soloist, similar to Prodigy, right?
Right. He's very much got a Prodigy issue, but he wasn't as good as Prodigy within the group as much as I love the group.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Hell Hath No Fury is not the Infamous or Hell on Earth as much as I love Hell Hath No Fury.
No, it's not. I would feel comfortable with going G-Rap, Kane, Pusha, then Prodigy.
G-Rap, Kane, Pusha, and then Prodigy. Now that takes Eminem out of the top 25.
Yeah. Mo Better with the super chat says, it's easy for anybody to disrespect T.I.'s catalog until they actually go back and listen to his 5-album run from 2000 era right now. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing, man. We do need to go back and listen because I think that a large amount of the way people are treating this artist's legacy is based on how he acts.
Can I tell you something, though?
Mm-hmm.
There is some Jay-Z going on when you come back and listen to some of T.I.'s stuff. You enjoy the records, but it feels very locked into a time frame outside of some records.
Say that again? I'm sorry.
I said it has that feeling like some of Jay's great stuff that you thought was really, really great early on, that it feels like it has a time stamp on it. And so I think that's what people are talking about. It's like the stuff that we thought was classic was more like mood music classic for the time, not necessarily that verifiable headbanger that we are used to,
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But all I ask is I think that people need to go back and listen. And I'll go back and listen myself too and see how this stuff stacks up. But I don't think somebody who, has had a career like this should just be disregarded. You know what I mean? Like, he was at that spot for a reason. You can't mention that era without mentioning that individual artist.
Right. Now, I got a star by Big L's name because Big L only made one album while he was alive. His second one got put together, and even though it's pretty dope, same thing with Pun. Pun died while his second album was being made. I got asterisks by them. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them. I just don't know if it's fair to put them in this conversation. So I'm Xing people out. So what do you think about...
We got to get J. Cole in there. He deserves one.
Right. I was about to say, we still got The Game, Rick Ross, J. Cole, Big Boy, Q-Tip, Slick Rick, Ludacris, Styles, Beans, AZ.
I got to be fair, man. I think J. Cole might need to slide right after Jada, man.
After Kiss?
As an artist, yeah.
Ahead of Thought and G-Rap and Kane and Pusha and Prodigy.
Yeah.
I don't know if his stuff is classic enough like that, though. Because here's what I mean. How about this? What does he have that's better than Illadelph, Half-Life, or Things Fall Apart, even though it is a group album? Because I don't think his classics are anything close to that. He's
so now those
definitely
are
not
thought
G-Rap.
albums.
He's listen, as much as I love him, I am from North Carolina. He's the greatest MC to ever come out of North Carolina. He is not G-Rap or Big Daddy Kane on the mic because even most of these guys who are ahead of them are.
Yeah.
But about what he's done, if you want to put him ahead of them, I can. But I don't know if I can put him ahead of Thought at this stage because Thought is in his solo act right now. And he did just...
He's running an era, you know what I mean?
Thought or Cole?
Cole.
You know, I'm going to take that action for now, Mike, and put Cole at 21 ahead of Thought and G-Rap and all them. I'm cool with that.
Walter Brinkley with the super chat says, forget what they're saying. T.I.'s catalog makes him top 15.
Now,
Jay Short with the super chat says, fair or not, I don't think people see T.I. as someone the people selected because he was promoted so much by BET and radio. Outside of Atlanta, he never had those organic street hits. That's probably the hate. Wow, I guess I never saw it from that vantage point because everything that happened here was organic.
Right.
Clayton is Asleep says, Guru did 4 Jasmine Taz installments. Oh, that's right.
I'll tell you this.
Because he started doing them in like 91, I think.
For the Eminem fans, I would take Slick Rick, because Prodigy's at 26 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Slick Rick, and then I would take Rick Ross, and then I would take T.I., and I would put Eminem right there at 30.
JSN Highlights with the super chat says, where y'all rank Lauren and CeeLo Green?
Okay.
2 of the most talented artists hip-hop's ever seen.
Lauren and CeeLo will be making our lyricist list. Lauren definitely will. CeeLo probably will too.
Ohio K with the super chat says, although he's lacking in longevity, how y'all feel about Big L? He's got a classic solo album.
Almost
definitely
classic.
A lyricist list. KC1 says, for 3 or 4 years in rap's golden ages, it was a question between J, Nas, and P. His bars are cold. I don't think anyone has rhymed like Prodigy since him.
Including him, though. That was the thing that we were bringing up. Nobody rhymed like him since even him while he was still here. Like, he was here another 10 years, and he didn't rhyme like that anymore either. That's what Mike's kind of saying. Mike, I have a question for you. Lupe or Eminem? Or T.I. or Rick Ross? Because here's the thing. I put Slick Rick right after Prodigy because of all the people left, he has the greatest classic that we haven't covered. The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick is better than anything that Rick Ross has ever done, T.I.'s ever done, Eminem's ever done, and Lupe's ever done. And he's got more impact than all of them, too, because his kids are at the top of this fucking list.
I think Ross has to be next.
I got Ross after Slick Rick.
Yeah.
Then I have T.I. and then I have Eminem. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Lupe after Eminem?
Yeah, I think
or
that's
would you
fine.
put Eminem ahead? Or would you put Lupe ahead of Eminem?
I'll put Eminem ahead.
Okay.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Guru has 4 Jasmine Taz, 1 Ballhead Slick, and 3 7 Grand albums. Also, objectively speaking, Styles has 1 classic album, something Jada doesn't have.
I got Styles up here, too, on my board.
Nicodemus
on the board.
Nicodemus says, T.I. hurt his own legacy trying to be a comedian. So Antonio Martinez with the super chat says, where's Lil' Kim and Missy? They have impact?
Well, hold on. Let me tell you the names that I have left. We already put an asterisk by L and Pun. We got Guru, The Game, Chuck D, Big Boy, Q-Tip, Melly Mel, Ludacris, Styles, Beanie Siegel, AZ, Bun B, MJG, Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, Nicki Minaj, MC Light, Queen Latifah, Talib Kweli, Pharoah Monch, Mos Def, a.k.a. Yasin Bey. But I'll tell you right now, we're already at 31. Like, this is what I mean. This is the 50. This is how hard it is. It's like, no. You want to try to do 20, you're going to end up doing 50.
No, you're right. CJ Kid with the
Right.
super chat says, personally, I think that Gangsta and Gentleman is just a great album, but most hip hop community lists it as a classic. So that's why I say that objectively.
I'm the same way about it. I think it's a great album, but I don't think it's a classic. But a lot of the hip hop community does feel that way. It's not good to argue with your family.
Jay Short says, serious question. Does Lil' Kim have the same impact as Slick Rick? And she also has more classic verses than Ross, T.I., or maybe Pusha.
I'm actually okay if she's right after Lupe at 32. What do you say?
I mean, I think that she would be the first female MC to totally deserve that spot.
How about this? Does she deserve to come off the board before Game? How about this? I put an asterisk by Chuck D too because he didn't have no solo material. We sliding Chuck D in somewhere. Chuck D, hold on. Do we need to move Chuck D up in here somewhere?
Probably. 36 Chambers says, does Yasin Bey deserve a top 25 spot?
Hold on, I'll tell you what. Mike,
I would say
quick,
Chuck is around that whole Cool G Rap and Kane thing.
No, I was actually about to tell you, Mike, if we're looking at Yo Bum Rush the Show, Fear of a Black Planet, It Takes a Nation of Millions, I would tell you he's more closer to that Common, Kendrick, Redman, DMX area than. Because think about it, It Takes a Nation of Millions is better than everything that all these niggas have made.
I'm okay with that.
Except, I mean, The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, he's the only old head outside of Rakim. KRS and Rakim are the only ones that have an album comparable to like the Chuck D Public Enemy shit, except for Slick Rick. And so I would tell you, if he's really the front man for that, I would have him. To be honest with you, I would have him right after Common and before Kendrick, if we're being honest. And so I would have him at 16. If we're like really looking at it like that, because as much as you want to talk about some To Pimp a Butterfly, you want to hear some real pro-black music, and you want to play It Takes a Nation of Millions next to Pimp a Butterfly, find out what the better album is, find out who really spitting.
Deontay Smith for the super chat says, when you guys do a top 50, can we introduce Wale in the conversation?
No, we can't.
My DC bias may be showing. Shout out to DC. Love y'all out there.
It is. No, fuck with DC. I don't know if Wale.
Man, it's a lot of names, man, and my brain is getting, fried.
Yeah, it's getting late. So look, I'm gonna tell you where we're at. We're gonna pause for the calls, but we're at Lupe at 32 right now.
Okay.
And we have one. We got Emcees on the board.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, where does Cameron fall on this list?
See? God damn it.
Killer. The impact is crazy with Cam, too.
Cam can spit, too. Cam got pulled into DMX. He got banned from TV with the Locks and Nature and Nori. Like no, Cam got Killer Cam, Get 'Em Girls, got Old Boy, got The Rock, got Hey Ma.
Yeah.
Got Horse and Carriage, got What Means the World to You. What Means the World to You is still like one of my personal favorite like rap songs from that era.
Me too. I love that beat.
I love that track. Right.
Antonio Martinez says Kim is the top 20 for her impact alone. Okay. All right. Well, shoot. Let's we'll post this and then we'll start working on this even more. And but yeah, I think we got somewhere with this one.
We wasn't even expecting to do this the whole show. We had other shit to talk about.
It took us 3 hours pretty much because we went right into it.
We did, which is good. It's better to get up and get it going and get it done. I was expecting to make a 25 list, and then I started thinking, I was like, yeah, we're gonna end up doing a 50 piece up in here.
Yeah.
Get some lemon pepper, get some garlic parmesan, something hot. Get some lemon pepper sprinkles on the side, 50 piece.
CJ Kid says Buckshot has a great catalog too.
Not great. It's good.
DeCarlo said, y'all got Chuck D above 3,000. Listen, 3,000 does not have a fight the power. Doesn't.
I mean, hey, Mike, I know you probably know this than I do. How many 3-verse songs Chuck just got on It Takes a Nation of Millions by itself?
I mean, damn near all of the songs.
Like 8, 9 songs?
Yeah.
Like, Yo Bum Rush the Show, he got more than that because Flavor's not on Yo Bum Rush as much. That's what I'm saying. Fear of the Black Planet, it's like Flavor's the ad-lib man, and they gave him 911 as a joke, and other than that, it's Chuck too. You know what I'm saying? So Chuck got like 20, 30, 40 solo records like he do.
Yeah, he got them.
Like, how about this? He got, for all of y'all that feel that way about Black Thought and the classic, like, root stuff, it's like Chuck D got that times 2 because he didn't have half the help.
Yeah.
And he got better records than the Roots. Nothing against the Roots. It's Public Enemy, Mike. Welcome to the Terror Dome.
Some of the
The Roots
greatest
don't have
hip hop
nothing
songs
fucking
ever
with Welcome to the Terror Dome. Respectfully.
I got so much trouble on my mind. Refuse to lose. Y'all have a great weekend. We're gonna see y'all next week. This was fun though.
It was fun.